There are two types of business owners, those who are busy and those who want to be busy. Toast is designed for both, with tools to keep you humming and help turn grind into growth. That's how you turn busy into business. Toast, built for busy.
We urge you to read the article I wrote last night, big front page feature featuring myself, about 100 pounds heavier, with Svelte Mateo of KISS FM. And the title is, These Two Great Americans Want You to See the Great Boise Music Festival. A lot of things going on today. You might have missed the announcement. Also on our website, the Micron has partnered with the Spirit of Boise Balloon Classic to keep that free as well. A lot of news going on. We go now to Jonathan Savage of Fox News Radio. And Mr. Savage, is this going to be a short segment or is this going to be a long segment today? Because I have a lot of things to discuss with you. But I want to be, unlike you people, I want to be respectful and play within the rules of the game.
I could talk about the World Cup for hours. Don't worry about that, Kevin Miller.
You know something? It's not every day that Kevin Miller walks into the potato arena, the potato cartel, and is immediately outnumbered as my man Bo and you have colluded against me to bring up this topic of the World Cup. But you know something? I apologize to my friend Rocky. I apologize to all the San Antonio Spurs fans. But last night, and I am not a New York guy, the New York Knicks, 29 points down, come back, beat the Spurs. Jerry Seinfeld, Larry David, Kevin Miller. We continue that celebration from Midtown Manhattan to Midtown Meridian, Idaho. Sir, you, Messi, Schmessy, cannot top that, sir, but you have the floor.
Oh, look, I love that you're a basketball fan. I love that you're a sports fan because I've got great news for you, Kevin. I've got fantastic news for you. If you like basketball, this is wonderful. This is the best thing because you're about to witness a sport where the first 90% of the game actually does matter.
What do you mean? A bunch of guys running around chasing a ball? Very compelling. Very compelling. Yeah,
look, you've spent years berating me over soccer, denigrating the people's game, denigrating the beautiful game, and yet here you are, first one to call me up to put my name in the list on the day the World Cup starts. I know that deep down you're intrigued, you're curious. You've got something sort of twitching in your brain, thinking, "God, what is up with this soccer thing? It must be special." And I've been asked many times today to sort of explain to the United States and to people in the US who are not necessarily big soccer fans how big it is, right?
Let me just say this. First of all, those are the jobbers. This ain't Mountsville. This is Idaho. It means something. Years ago, my brother, Matthew Miles Miller, was a soccer player, still a great player, and I coached him in indoor. I know the game. One of my greatest friends ever was a professional player. I was his agent. So please, sir, you're not talking to your little jabroni nation. This is indoctrination. This is BS. It's a bunch of overhyped people invading America, and Kevin Miller will not be a part of it. Let me just say this to our friends that love soccer. Last night, and I'm not a Knicks fan, I love the Boston Celtics, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, the big three, kind of like Mr. Savage, Bo, and myself. However, last night, you saw real men compete in a real sport, not running around going, "Where's the red flag? Where's the yellow flag?"
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Well done. And the good thing about soccer is you don't have to be 6'11" in order to play either. You can be fast, you can be strong, you can be short, you can be tall, you can be skillful, you can be a tank. There's room for everybody in the beautiful game. And that's partly, I think, why the world loves it so much. We're talking this month about realizing lifelong dreams. And I know you can get on board with realizing lifelong dreams, not just the dreams of the athletes themselves, but the supporters in the stadium, the nations watching back home. I saw people in tears just because Scotland qualified for the World Cup for the first time in 28 years. Nothing touches the heart like soccer does. Nothing.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. you could have the rest of the world, myself, the president, Dana White, Justin Gaethje. We're all going to be at the White House. Well, I won't be at the White House. They're going to be at the White House for the real international sport, the UFC. How about that? Huh? Do you think Donald Trump's going to the World Cup? No, he's not. He's hanging out with the men, not the boys.
Look, I like fighting as much as the next person, pretend fighting or real fighting. But I think that people aren't going to be noticing this UFC thing too much. I think it's going to be dwarfed by the beautiful game. The 130 million people watched the Super Bowl. The last World Cup final was watched by the combined viewership of the last 11 Super Bowls. I don't think, you can put on all the fights in all the fancy gardens that you want to, and all the lawns you want to. It's nothing. I mean, it's a nice little thing. Good for them. I say good for them with their little show with the UFC. But it's nothing else matters right now. You can't try.
Jonathan Savage joining us here at 580 KIDO talking World Cup. Why? I don't know. Let me just say this to that, sir. Seattle hosting the World Cup. Apparently, not a lot of people coming to Seattle because it's overpriced. Is the World Cup overpriced? And have you taken a look at who is playing in Seattle? Since I believe they're not going to a real American city like the Great Salt Lake. They're not going to Boise. They're going to Seattle. By the way, at one time, the number one city by far of the Kevin Miller Show podcast. Who knows what happened? Maybe they didn't like the truth. But regardless, Seattle. Big teams coming there, or do they give them the jobbers?
Seattle's got a bit of a raw deal. Look, I will say they've got USA Australia. That's a good game. But I'm not sure that Qatar versus Bosnia and Herzegovina is really going to capture the imagination of the locals in the same way. Look, you never know what's going to be a great game in the World Cup. Some might be a stinker and some might be absolutely fantastic. You don't expect it to be. Seattle's not got the best of them, but maybe in the round of 32 they'll get or round of 16 they'll get a big match. Is it overpriced? Arguably it is. It's certainly much higher priced than any World Cup in history. FIFA set the prices, and the answers to whether it's overpriced or not will be on display in front of the world if there are thousands of empty seats or whether they're full up. But I think it's a big ask to ask people to spend hundreds of dollars to watch Qatar versus Bosnia and Herzegovina on June 24th in Seattle and expect the stadium to be completely full. Some matches will be full. I don't know if that one will.
Isn't it, though, the way the world sticks it to America? And I remember the first time the World Cup came here, and Alexi Lawless and Ed, and then we had the women trying to be the men and did it. And, it flopped. But you know what I got from the World Cup? You had a bunch of people from all these countries that ain't America. They come into this country, and they love to stick it to us. Isn't that really what the World Cup is about, sir?
Well, firstly, I would take issue with your statement that the 1994 World Cup flopped. People have great memories of that, and the stadia were completely full.
Not Americans. Not America. Maybe the foreigners, but not America.
And in terms of wanting to come and stick it to Americans, not at all. I have seen videos and photos of Scots flying out over the last few days, filling the streets of Boston, getting into the spirit, singing,
taking over,
Boston.
taking over, taking over Boston.
Just wanting to drink the local drink, eat the local food, share their love of the beautiful game, and just make friends everywhere they go. This is about bringing people together, making friends, and sharing everything that America has to offer, and people from around the world doing the same in return. So, I would say open your arms to this, Kevin, because if you open your arms, you will open your mind and your life will simply be better.
Jonathan Savage telling us that we should eat quiche. Jonathan Savage telling us no more meat. Embrace the tofu. Mr. Savage, before.
What about haggis?
I don't know what haggis is or whatever. But let me just say this, Mr. Savage.
National dish. Okay.
Well, in America, the national dish is steak and potatoes. And if you were here, you get free French fries coming up at Jump every Friday. Once a year they call it Friday. But no, you'll be doing a bunch of things, watching these people. In all seriousness, before we let you go, and with respect to your great work, internationally, we've got the bombing continuing, the president going on and on and on. Anything coming out of Iran or Ukraine that you could share with us?
Yeah, further strikes from the United States on Iran yesterday, harder than the night before, and Iran was trying to fight back, but doesn't really appear to be very successful in doing so. President Trump says that they are working towards a deal, and if a deal is signed, he himself would go to Switzerland in order to sign it. He says that if Iran doesn't sign the deal, they'll bomb them even harder tomorrow night, although he used more colorful language than that. And it looks like they're continuing with the military campaign, but trying to continue with negotiation at the same time.
Yeah, you notice how he summed that up very quickly, but he could go on and on about the World Cup. So what about my Germans? Are the Germans favored? Or the Brazilians?
The Germans are there. They've got a decent team. No one's really talking about them as being a favourites because France and Spain are generally seen as better. Brazil struggled through qualifying, but you can never rule them out because they've got great individual talent. I think France or Spain are going to win. Mexico probably might do better than everyone expects. USA aim for the last 16. That should be your goal. Any better than that will be a huge win.
We shall see how it plays out. Jonathan Savage, the man who loves soccer, or football, as you call it, you people.
Football in Scotland, football.
Do you have, like, shorts, or do you wear the kilts?
It depends. I will sometimes wear a kilt to a game, but I'll go to the pub on Saturday night, and I'll wear my jeans and my Scotland shirt. That's what I'll wear.
Are you going to get into a fight? Do people beat you up because you're Scottish?
I don't think so. I'm going to be in a pub full of Scottish people in London. There's going to be about maybe 100, 200 people there. It's going to be 2 o'clock in the morning. So I imagine people will be well lubricated by the time the match starts. But Scottish soccer fans are happy soccer fans. We're not the type to go rioting and so forth.
By the way, my friend Nancy at Albertson says she really enjoys you and your voice.
Good. I mean, it's good that she enjoys my voice because it at least distracts me from the nonsense that I come out with.
Jonathan Savage. Anymore, they're going to call this the Jonathan Savage Show, and then we're going to have to pay royalties to you and Fox. We appreciate you, sir.
Have a great day.
Jonathan Savage with the World Cup. Now, really, how many people are excited about that? Maybe some. I think it's indoctrination. But what a great spirited way to start this morning. By the way, if you've got an old car you'd like to trade for a newer one without putting any cash down, then you need to get out to our friends, Team Mazda and the Pre-Owned Superstore. Trade-a-thon marathon this weekend. Dude, I love these guys, man. Every time I see that old Kmart and they've got some kind of new store in there, but those guys in the thick of summer, in the winter, they go out to the old Kmart. They move literally their entire brand new facility to the corner of Karcher and the Boulevard in Nampa, where the action happens. That's where you'll want to bring your trade, swap it up for a better used car, truck, SUV, or even a brand new Mazda. This is why this event is so popular. Team is offering up to 130% of book value for your trade. That's right, up to 130% of book value for your trade. And if your current vehicle is more of a push-pull, drag, clunker, Team will guarantee a minimum $2,000 trade value towards your purchase. Best of all, you can use your trade as the entire down payment. That's right, zero cash down. And here's a little something extra. With your purchase, Team will give you a $2,000 Visa gift card, which you can use for gas, summer getaway, or maybe just to leave entirely. Or maybe a really, really great Father's Day gift for dad or yourself, right? By the way, Father's Day. Not a lot of propaganda about Father's Day compared to Mother's Day, but at Team, you can do that. One more thing, watch your mailbox for the Strike It Rich mailer and bring it to the Trade-a-thon Marathon to claim your prize. The grand prize is $25,000. There's a winner, and it could be you. Trade old for new this weekend during Team Mazda's Trade-a-thon Marathon at the old Kmart parking lot in Nampa on the corner of Karcher and the Boulevard. Look for the big white tent and drive home in a newer vehicle. By the way, congratulations to all the people that participated in the St. Jude's Dream Home. I was watching a little of that last night on Channel 7. And we give people a lot of time, but to put that production together, what did they donated over $3 million to helping the folks at St. Jude. They say literally Boise not only always outkicks the coverage, but really per capita delivers again and again and again. So we want to thank you all for participating. And again, I hope you won. Then they have this, brand new F-150, insane vehicle. Anyway, thank you very much for all those people that participated. I hope you won. I really hope you won. Kevin Mill in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone number's here, 580-5436. The bombing in Iran is continuing, number one. Also, the World Cup, everybody's excited about that. Locally, we have the deal with Micron that they've stepped up, so the Spirit of Boise Balloon Classic will be free for quite some time. Thank you, Micron, for that. And let's see, do we have that story, Sweet William? Can we pull that up, please? Here we go. Micron has partnered with the Spirit of Boise Balloon Classic as the key sponsor for the annual hot air balloon event. I've had so many people come up to me and ask me what the future of the event is, because for years CapEd did it, and CapEd, for some reason, decided not to do it, so Micron's stepping up. Emphasizing the importance of community involvement. The event founded in 1991 after the Boise River Festival ended. Hello, Eric and CUNA. Has seen significant growth in attendance and activities over the years. I will tell you that. Big time, just based on the fact that my family, they love to go. I have to work it, so we're there, have to and want to. So many people want to. Micron support as the title sponsor reflects their commitment to investing in the community and creating a sense of pride among team members. So there we have it. Huge deal locally. So that will be around for quite some time. Also, we have some bad news. The wildfire near Interstate 84 in Payette County is determined to be arson. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Dummies. All right, more coming up next. Kevin Miller, 580-KIDO. The Boise Music Festival tickets, we'll give those away. Family 4-pack between now and 7 o'clock. All you have to do when you hear the cue to call is be the correct caller. What is that? Caller 10. Caller 10 when you hear the cue to call. We would be more than happy to give you a chance to see the great acts that are coming in. In fact, I was, the article I wrote last night, we were talking about the greatest acts of all time. And do you know that Pitbull has been here? Joan Jett, the Backstreet Boys. Did they make the list? Find out today. Find out today by simply going to 580-KIDO and take a look at that article, KIDOTalkRadio.com. Some of the news that we're worried about. And again, hello to all of our friends, our man Rocky in the hinterlands. Rocky, we love you. Appreciate you and all hardworking Americans. I do have a question, though, and I need your help with something. And we have this menace that is slowly creeping in, and it's called the screwworm. Have you heard about the screwworm? Now, I don't really know what the screwworm is, and it's very, very rare that I ask you to help me. So that if you're a farmer, a rancher, a frontiers person, can you tell me what this screwworm is? Apparently, the New World screwworm is a dangerous pest that can infest warm-blooded animals. Dude, you keep that screwworm away from me, bro. I want no screwworm. It's been discovered in Texas and in New Mexico. Idaho is taking action to prevent the spread of this pest in the state by implementing new entry requirements for animals coming from affected areas. Now, what does this nefarious screwworm do? It lays eggs in open wounds of animals. And if you've been watching the Dutton Ranch, you know what happens when the animals get infected. It's not good for the animals, leading to potentially severe infestations that can harm and even cause death. Pet owners are advised to avoid traveling with their animals to states where the screwworms live and thoroughly inspect their pets for signs of infestation. The outbreak of the New World screwworm, not the Old World screwworm, and it's very important to make that distinction, is believed to have been spread due to unregulated cattle movement and new farming areas opening up. So fear the screwworm at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Make sure you look out for that. Also, one more story before we get to some national news and your talk topics. Attorney General, the crime fighter, Idaho Attorney General Raul Labrador is warning seniors about a surge in Medicare-related phone scams. And don't you hate that phone scam? You're sitting there watching reruns of MASH or Hogan's Heroes or The Cosby Show or Happy Days or, I don't know, watching 24 or Homeland going, man, these shows were insanely good. Or perhaps some type of guilty pleasure. I don't know. Maybe you're playing Parcheesi or Crazy Eights. Who knows? Anyway, and all of a sudden you get a call or a scam or an email, and you don't know if the email or scam is good, right? Scammers are calling individuals and falsely claiming that their Medicare card has expired, it's been lost, or needs verification. Officials advise that Medicare will never call to request personal information or charge a fee for a replacement card. Idahoans are urged to treat their Medicare card like a credit card and only share the number with trusted healthcare professionals or pharmacies. If anyone receives a suspicious call claiming to be from Medicare, they should hang up and contact Medicare directly to verify that information. Right about that. A lot of crazy people going on trying to steal your money. Or, like we say around the broadcast center, your money. Top national story, the U.S., we're back at it, taking down the Iranians. The Iranians say, you're not the boss of us. The Knicks, this is how big the Knicks winning last night. It actually trumps, no pun intended, the big headline, the latest U.S. and Iranian war things, both sides trading sides for a second day, pushing the Middle East closer to a full-scale war. That is number two behind this headline. Quote, I can't even put it into words. The Knicks are one win away from a long-awaited NBA title. We're not New York people here. Maybe Tea Party Bob is. But the world is enamored with the Knicks right now, coming back from a 29-point deficit. And I know there are many people that love the San Antonio Spurs. We're sorry, Spurs fans. But the Knicks top the war, inflation, gas prices, Patrick Mahomes signing a $500 million contract, and solar power winning, going into new milestones. And let's not forget, a new CBS News poll finds most Americans believe that the aliens exist. Some think they're already here. Those stories and more coming up as we roll along, taking your calls about the issues that matter to you. Remember, this portion of the program is made possible by our friends at Team Mazda. Check them out today, Karcher and the Boulevard. Their $5 car sale going on now. Let's get you to work safely and on time at Life in the Persian Gulf, like Life in the Navy, of what our troops are going through right now as we continue to bomb and try to liberate the country of Iran and to get us out of this energy mess. We'll also talk about a great event coming up, and he's got a big sponsor for it. That's coming up as well in September. Very unique race. We look forward to that. Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, boy, she could probably run for president. In a farming state, you're always wondering who has your back, and certainly the Secretary of Agriculture does. Let's take a listen.
I say all of that because what I don't understand, Senator Hoeven, is how did the last USDA watch it coming for years? It broke the gap in 2021, moving up 2022, moving up 2023, spreading, hits Mexico 2024. There's no stopping it. There's not enough sterile flies. Why did no one do anything about it until we walked in the door in January and February of last year? Well, it is a question that I still don't understand, but we're making a lot of progress.
Yeah, she's talking about the screwworm. That's right. That's the word of the day. The screwworm is coming for all of us. Nothing to joke about, especially in the beef industry.
We discussed early on New World screwworm, and the Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service has lost 25% of its staff, including more than 300 employees in veterinary services alone since the administration came in. How do you plan on ensuring that each of these critical threats, such as New World screwworm, receives individualized resources? We're very concerned about this.
Yes, ma'am. As I mentioned, a year and a half ago, there were 10 APHIS employees working full-time, a total of 10 working full-time all in. Now we've got over 120. So we've increased the amount of employees in APHIS working on New World screwworm by 1,000% in the last 14 months. So as you can see, we're prioritizing where the big threats are as we're working to ensure that we're meeting all of the needs across the country.
And is he a threat? Is he a friend? Is he a foe? He probably won't be going to the Boise Music Festival because he doesn't believe in family four-packs. His name is Al in Ontario. Is he our version of the screwworm? Good morning, Al.
Kevin, what we've got here is failure to communicate. Some man that we just can't reach. So you get what we had here yesterday, which is the way you want it. Well, you got it, Kevin. I don't like this any more than you do. What happened yesterday, I used the word query as a verb with regard to asking questions, and you turned it into an adjective about yourself. Now, Kevin, that's not a big deal. Okay, that's not a big deal.
I believe the correct pronunciation is quiring.
Query. Look it up.
Now,
okay,
look, we're not going to go back to that again in your fixation with this word. And then when I say something, you get very defensive about you, the sauna, and the boys.
Well, listen, you're the one who talks about the screwworm, how you love the screwworm. You love the screwworm, Kevin. That's your favorite.
I said you were the screwworm, and now you're saying queer and screwworm at the same time. Sir, this is a family-friendly program. It's quiring is the correct pronunciation of the word.
Kevin, the only choiring that's going to be done is you as the head of the choir to the fruitcake, okay? And you love those fruitcakes, okay? And they're the ones who are destroying us. We can look at the fruitcakes, okay, as the socialist, opportunist, statist, Marxist, cowards, communist, freaks, simpletons, and slackers. And what are they doing? Kevin, they're destroying our country. And what is that destruction? It's the balkanization of the United States, really. That's what it is. You know, we have these little groups, okay, because of all this illegal immigration, we've got mutually hostile groups here. It's just like the Balkans. Now, I know that, you know, a lot of the education that you guys get, you young people, you don't know what Balkans is. Well, it's certain countries in Europe, and all they do is fight, and they never can get anything done because they're in each other's throats. It's this visceral hatred, and that's really what we've done in this country, is we've created the legal victim grievance hate industrial complex, and all it really does, it's a parasitical complex, and what it does is it foments hate through sophistry. You know, we can't make things anymore. I sent you a video yesterday about we can't even make ships. We can't even make battleships anymore because what's happened is we've taken all of the great minds that
what are we doing in Virginia?
Look it, man. Kevin, did you watch the video I sent you yesterday?
I don't watch your videos, sir. I don't know what you've put in them.
Okay, well, look, let me tell you something. That video, listen, we went to make like 30 ships, and we're going to make them for $1.5 billion. It went over cost. It ended up going to 15 ships, then down to 2 ships, and it cost $7.5 billion for each one of these. And the one broke down in the Panama Canal, while South Korea, okay, and Japan are making much greater.
You ever been to the Panama Canal, Al?
Listen, yeah, but look, Kevin, here's the thing.
Hold on.
Don't try and
Have you ever been to the Panama Canal, Al? Have you ever been there?
Yeah. Yes. So
really? So have I. And let me tell you something. Before you start talking about the Panama Canal, until you've been to the Panama Canal and worked with the people that I've worked with there, just keep the Panama Canal out of our conversation, quiring, sir.
Okay, well, here's the whole thing, buddy. Just because you happen to be there or something doesn't mean you know anything about it, okay?
I was there as part of a military operation, sir. Just
okay, what
be
I'm saying
warned.
is this. Okay, I could talk to all
What
kinds
were you
of
doing at the
military-
Panama Canal, Al? What were you doing there?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is this. I could talk to all kinds of people in the military that don't know anything about the military, that don't know anything about weaponry, that don't know anything about hypersonic missiles. One of them, in my opinion, is General Don Bacon, okay? And he's the guy who criticized Hegseth. Let me tell you, Hegseth went to Europe, and he said the greatest things. He says, look, Hegseth is probably the greatest Secretary of War we've ever had, okay? But you see, the haters, okay, the legal victim grievance hate industrial complex, they can't stand him. So what they want to do is they want to use their pop culture BS bandwagon and try and
Hegseth did a great job with the LDS, didn't he? That was a good call there, wasn't it?
They didn't do anything. Yeah, see, this
Great
is
call,
you make that up.
Hegseth. Great job, Petey.
You make that up because what did he say to those freako Europeans? He says, "Look, D-Day. Now you've got the same people.
Yeah.
You've got these
Class
people
act there on
D-Day.
D-Day. He decides to make it political. Good job, Pete.
Yeah, because he tells the truth. He says now you have these crazy boats with these men and these ideologies.
Didn't he say
Just
that
like
the
in our
Iranian war
country.
would be over by now too? How's that working out
What
for
about the
us?
screwworms? What are the screwworms? Is that biological?
When we get him
what
with
about
facts, he goes back to
what about
acquiring in the
starting fires?
screwworms.
What about starting fires in Idaho? How many illegals are there? How many terrorists are there? What about
How many
all these
screwworms
ticks?
are there? I don't know.
We've got 5,500% increase in this disease from ticks, and they're finding boxes full of ticks all over in the forest with millions and millions of ticks in there. Is that terrorism? Oh, let everybody
Yes.
in. Oh, yeah. Let me tell you something.
Whoa. I'm the most toughest person on the illegals in the state of Idaho when it comes to the media.
Well,
By
what
far.
you ought to do is understand that what we have here is this DEI hatred machine.
There's only one person that has covered the ICE arrests in this state, and it's been me. So I don't know what you're implying, and maybe you're spending too much time in the sauna, but we're tough on the illegals here.
Let's say, yeah, right. Sure you are. But what I'm saying is this. DEI is really what is destroying us, because what it does is it takes the victim grievance hate industrial complex and it turns it into our workforce and our society. And so we can't make things anymore because everybody's hating each other. Okay. We can't do things affordably. That's the problem. Okay, we can't build these ships. Okay, what the big question now is, can we import these ships from Japan because we can't make them? Okay, but we can't because in federal law we have to make our stuff here because at some point, hey, look, we got to, they let us make medicine overseas, and we have to make everything else overseas. Okay, and we got to play this DEI. So we put all these women and minorities and everybody else who's incapable in charge. And did we ever hear these people? Oh, Don Bacon, he'll go after Secretary Hegseth, but he'll never go after the DEI. He'll never go after them with the same vociferous voice that he'll go after the.
Let me use some logic against you then.
Oh, look at a system of logic. Okay, is it ratioinative and inductive?
So
it is.
I'm going to use the same argument that you've used against those generals. I'm going to use against President Trump. So last night, Marjorie Taylor Greene was on with Caitlin Collins, and now she's going to do videos of what it's like to be Marjorie Taylor Greene, whether it's you or Tom Munns or Dylan. You'll be little fanboys watching. But she made a great point when she talked about all the Republicans that supported Donald Trump that have been wiped out by Donald Trump. And she said, he hasn't gone after the people that he said he was going to go after. And I go, well, she's got a point there, where we're talking about all the people that wronged him, all the people that prosecute. I mean, where's the prosecution of Raskin? Where's the prosecution of Shifty Schiff? Where's everything else? The only people that seem to be paying are the people that were not especially loyal to him.
Well, because the legal victim grievance hate industrial complex is running the country, the deep state. That's why. If you think these judges and you think these so-called jurists are going to let him do anything. That's what Eric and Kuna says. Oh, well, they're not going after. Look, they're trying to go after these people, but everything the president does is countermanded. He can't do anything because the deep state legal victim grievance industrial hate complex is in charge, and they contrive this hate and they contrive all this stuff. Okay, President Trump is about America first. He's maybe one of the great presidents. He is as good. Well, you can't really compare him to Washington and Jefferson. But let me tell you something. Nobody has ever gone up against what President Trump has gone up against, and also Secretary Hegseth. These two gentlemen are the greatest.
We're going to say that. A lot of people have said, hey, man, Pete got the president into this thing, and because we love Al, and he loves the screwworm and the choiring, we're just going to leave him with this one.
I love the inflation. You know why? Because as soon as this war is over, I can say it now. Something you didn't know. Do you know we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil? Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran, until right now.
Well, you heard the headline. He loves inflation. Do you love inflation? Big Money Al, the screwworm?
Let me tell you something. Look, inflation is the only way. It's the only way. Look at the victim legal grievance hate industrial complex. Those scumbags who also include, let me tell you, the rhinos. Okay, because they're all part of this. Okay, they are the ones who have destroyed our economic, financial, and monetary system. So the only thing that we can have.
Well, it's the rhinos,
inflation.
it's the Biden, it's everybody but ourselves. Al, thank you for the call. Sean Hannity today at 1-580-KIDO. Very, very soon, we'll give you the cue to call. Phone number's here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Finally, Pete Hegseth was given a chance to answer this ridiculous, stupid question.
Or you just mentioned you're going to plan to hit them and strike them hard tonight. If the response is in hitting bridges, electrical infrastructure, how would that not be a war crime potentially targeting civilian infrastructure?
Well, it's precisely the kind of disingenuous question that I'm used to from the media, impugning the motives of the folks on our side who are incredibly professional and incredibly effective. We will hit them hard on our terms, on the targets that improve the environment for us to operate in and undermine the capabilities that Iran wants to have. Again, they can't do that to us meaningfully the way that we can to them, but we're also clearly signaling to them, you have a choice. You have a choice in the way that you respond, and you have a choice with our incredible negotiating team in Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and the vice president and the president, across the board, prepared, Marco Rubio, the whole team, prepared to make a great deal that would benefit Iran. They choose not to, and as a result, they're going to meet the United States Central Command again tonight in the way the president laid out clearly. Yes.
There we have it. Pete Hegseth saying we're going to hit them as if they haven't hit them before. But one of the things that really is a bother, and why don't we do this? Let's do the cue to call. We're not going to wait till the top of the hour. Caller 10, family 4-pack to see Marshmallow, Sean Paul, Everclear, MKT, Shotbot, and the Shanbot. All can be yours right now. Caller 10. You can join Larry, who won yesterday. But when you hear this stuff, you're going to yourself, come on, are you working for Al Jazeera?
Or you just mentioned you're going to plan to hit them and strike them hard tonight. If the response is in hitting bridges, electrical infrastructure, how would that not be a war crime potentially targeting civilian infrastructure?
Well, it's precisely the kind of disingenuous question that I'm used to from the media, impugning the motives of the folks on our side who are incredibly professional and incredibly effective. We will hit them hard on our terms, on the targets that improve the environment for us to operate in and undermine the capabilities that Iran wants to have. Again, they can't do that to us meaningfully the way that we can to them, but we're also clearly signaling to them, you have a choice. You have a choice in the way that you respond, and you have a choice with our incredible negotiating team in Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and the vice president and the president across the board prepared, Marco Rubio, the whole team prepared to make a great deal that would benefit Iran. They choose not to, and as a result, they're going to meet the United States Central Command again tonight in the way the president laid out clearly. Yes.
Nobody wants to meet the United States Central Command. That's kind of like meeting the bully. I don't want to meet the United States Central Command if I'm the Iranians, but the Iranians are people that, the military at least, they're not the ones that are going to be killed. Remember, as Buck Sexton broke down and even Kevin Miller broke down before that, these are the type of people that had the martyr brigades, the suicide brigades. And Buck, a lot younger than I am, but I can remember during the Iran-Iraq war where you would have the minefields. And the Iranians, I mean, Saddam Hussein was sadistic, but the Iranians took it to a new level. They would have kids and children and mothers go out ahead of the troops. So literally they were waiting for the Iraqis to run out of ammunition to do this, which is just amazing. Congratulations, Justin. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate that. Do we have time for Blair in Boise? Let's see if we can squeeze in Blair in Boise. Blair, good morning.
Hey, Kevin, how are you?
Good. Please go ahead.
Hey, I just wanted to clear up one thing real quick. I think people are getting confused between price increases and inflation. There's a huge difference between those. Inflation is caused by the government, only by the government, when they allow too much money into the money supply. You have temporary price increases when the costs of inputs for manufacturing or, due to energy or whatever, go up due to temporary circumstances. So for people to be calling what's going on right now with the prices inflation is technically incorrect. If the price increases stick around, then there's been inflation. It's been caused by government.
Screwworm lookout. So if you see the screwworm, give us a call. Also, your chance to win tickets to the Boise Music Festival coming up this hour. Be caller 10 when we give you the cue to call. And reasons to go, biggest acts of all time, on our website, KIDOTalkRadio.com. We go now to our great friend Jeff Bacon of the Wyatt Warrior Project, a cartoonist, a veteran, a man of the world, an action figure, an action star, who joins us now. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Kevin. Proudly say that I'm screwworm free so far.
Well, good. Before we allow people on this program, we give you the full body cavity screwworm search. So yes,
that's right. Well, I passed. So far, so good.
Well, all signs indicate a go. Jeff, first of all, I have to ask you, and I so appreciate you always partnering with us, but what a lot of people may or may not know about content is you never know the past of people until you ask them. And the last time we had you on, or maybe it was the time before that, you talked about your time in the Navy and serving in the Strait of Hormuz, serving in the Persian Gulf. And many people forget. They think this is recent history, but we've had a massive naval presence in that area for, as long as both of us have been alive.
Sure. I remember the Iranian hostage crisis. This has been going on for years. It's a pretty volatile part of the world. It continues to be. I was thinking about the conflict we have out there right now, and something that sort of struck me yesterday was this has become a drone war. You think about all of the weaponry that we've had over the years and stuff that you and I grew up with in the military. It's sort of the classic, we've got guns and we've got missiles. This war is all about drones. And, the Iranians have been sending drones. Shot down the helicopter the other day, the Apache. But those two pilots were rescued by a drone, by an unmanned boat, 24-foot unmanned boat designed specifically for pilot rescue. And then we've got underwater drones that are searching for mines. When I was at the Pentagon years ago, those were just being developed, and now they're fully operational, all of them unmanned. So that, as a military man, you appreciate that takes somebody out of the picture, somebody that's not going to go into harm's way, and now we're using the drones to rescue people or to find mines or map the sea bottom or get the bathythermic signature of the ocean column or whatever, and it's a whole new world. I mean, we have drones that I don't know if this is true, but I read that we've reversed engineered from the Iranian drones so that we can also send one-way drones out and attack. It's a whole different world out there now. It's amazing, and I think about the swarms that we've read about and heard about of drones coming in or small boats coming in. You know, when you and I were in the military, you're dealing with a few vehicles that or vessels that you're trying to combat against. Now you're dealing with hundreds of them coming in all at the same time and being able and having to defend yourself against those. So not only the offensive side of drone warfare, but the defensive side of drone warfare, it's what they're dealing with out there in the Persian Gulf right now, or the Arabian Gulf.
Well, and here's the other issue. You know, when you say drone wars, it reminds me of Clone Wars from Star Wars, and
exactly.
We're starting to see these machines make themselves. And again, we remember the real Star Wars, the original Star Wars, and really, you take a look at the military technology, it's kind of kept up with the movies of where we are today. We go back to the Arab oil embargo and everything else. Jeff, for people that have never served in the Navy, what is life like being in the Persian Gulf, being in the Strait of Hormuz, being in this huge ship, which probably gets a lot smaller and smaller the longer you're on it? What are our sailors and Marines going through right now?
Well, if you're on a carrier, carriers is roughly 1,100 feet long, and it's a big ship. So you have when you have an air wing on board, you've got about 6,500 people on board that 1,000 or 1,100 foot vessel. So it gets crowded. It's constant activity. I guess if I were going to characterize life on a deployment, it is just constant activity. The ship never sleeps. You have watches that go 24 hours a day, and set up different cycles with the aircraft launching. So, for example, right now we've got two carriers out in the Gulf, the Lincoln and the George H.W. Bush. Typically, what they will do is share the day. So you'll have one carrier that will be doing flight operations during the day, another carrier will be doing flight operations at night. But it's constantly. So you 24 hours a day, you've got air coverage, you've got operations going on. If you're on a smaller ship, like a destroyer, your crew is about somewhere around 400 on that ship. And they're about 400 feet long, a little larger than that. And same thing, though. It's still 24 hours a day. Now your job is to protect the aircraft carrier and to protect the assets from incoming missiles. So, we talked about the drones coming in. A lot of times the destroyers are the ones that are picking those things up and knocking them down before they can get to the carrier. And then you got submarines. We talked about the Idaho last time I was on the air. They've got a crew of just over 100 people. The boat itself is like 337 feet long, I think it is, and that's much more cramped. But again, 24 hours a day. So you'll sleep when you don't have watch, and when you do have watch, you're on and you're awake and you're doing operations. So you kind of set up your own little life cycle, but you never really fully get a chance just to sit back and do nothing.
Well, the scary part about it is, especially with these underground or underwater drones and these small drones, you don't know what you don't know until there could be a massive attack.
Right.
The stress level must be insane.
It is. I remember back years ago when we had all the mines that had been released in the Gulf, the floating mines, the classic ones you see out of the World War II movies. Those were just floating mines, and they were just dropped arbitrarily. And so we had to actually look at the flow of the current through the Gulf to try to determine where those mines might be. And we had a couple of ships that were hit by mines. Thank God none of them sunk the ships, but those were a big danger. Nowadays, with the way mine warfare works, is they can be deployed from just a little patrol boat and just tossed overboard. So you have to really be careful about the mines. So the president has talked about taking out all these small boats, and that's a defensive measure, really, to make sure that if they can't deliver the mines, then the mines aren't going to be a threat to the ships going through.
Boy, again, probably a lot of dullness, but on the other hand, a lot of excitement. So when the carriers are in full bore, when the missiles are being fired, what's the duty day like for those folks?
Well, when you have incoming aircraft or incoming missiles or whatever, and it basically go to general quarters. And general quarters, everybody's awake at that point, and everybody's at their assigned duty station. So you have damage control people, and you have weapons people, and operational people, and they lock down all the doors so that if we take a hit, you don't have uncontrolled flooding or uncontrolled fire or whatever. You contain it to a certain compartment. So during general quarters, when you're actually under attack or you're actually doing an attack, everybody's awake, and everybody is on alert. And the ships in the Navy the Americans are very good at getting to general quarter stations within a couple of minutes. And you think about 6,500 people all of a sudden scrambling to get to their duty stations within just literally like less than 5 minutes. It's amazing to see it, but as soon as they do that, everybody's there, ready to go. If those continue, then you have to start modifying that because people have to be able to sleep. You have to be able to stay on your game. So they'll start to modify the general quarters so that people can cycle through. You still have, the majority of people still on watch, but now you're allowing some of the crew to take some rest, get some food, keep their energy up, and then eventually replace those that are standing watch. So it's during operations, it is all hands on deck, like they say.
Jeff Bacon joining us now. Jeff, what would you? What is your fondest memory of serving in the Gulf?
I think it was the feeling that you're actually doing what you're trained to do. You do workups. You spend months and months and months training and learning how to fire your weapons and how to be defensive and do all the stuff that you do in the military. When you get out there, you are doing what you trained to do. I would make it maybe analogous to a football player who you train and train and train. You go to practice and practice and practice. Then finally you get to the game, and now all your senses are heightened. Your adrenaline is flowing, and you feel like you're actually doing what you trained to do. That when I talk about the Gulf itself, that's the way I feel about it. It's as I went back there later as a cartoonist and visited people in the Gulf, it was a different feeling because I was a civilian by that point, and I felt the danger that I never felt when I was in uniform. But as a civilian, I felt, okay, this is kind of a dangerous place. I mean, when you're flying in a Black Hawk and you're only a couple hundred feet off the ground, and you're looking down at people's backyards as you're flying to Kabul or whatever, you realize somebody down there, if they wanted to, they could take us out. And that, as a civilian, you feel that danger, and I think that's always there. But when you're in the military, it sort of gets put in the background. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, well, there's nothing like flying on, and you go back as far as I do on a Crash Hawk, which they used to call them back in the days when they replaced the Hueys. And again, nothing like going and flying into Kuwait as a civilian. Our great friend Jeff Bacon joining us here. Jeff, what's the state of veterans in the state?
Well, I can tell you right now. I'm actually in Kansas. I came out. My mother was ailing, so I'm living in Kansas. I had a chance now to compare veteran services in two different states. I will say that first of all, Idaho being a very friendly state to the military, it's a great thing. The VA hospital, and I've known this for years, the VA hospital we have in Boise is known throughout the country as one of the best VA hospitals. So I think that the way that Idaho treats its veterans is remarkable. The Idaho Division of Veteran Services is always worried about veterans and the support that they get. I know that Governor Little is very much pro-military. Governor Otter before him was very much pro-military. He actually invited me up to the Western Governors Association when he was the president of that committee, and the very first topic on his agenda was veteran support. So I can't speak for all the veterans. I'm sure there are some who have concerns about whatever support they may get. But I'd say overall, in the state of Idaho, veteran support is very good, and I think very focused on veteran support.
Yeah, no, again, you take a look at the veterans, and obviously there's so many challenges that most of us will never know about. Now, let's talk about something you're putting together, and we're a proud part of this, a very unusual run, if you will.
Man, you are the main point of this. The first phone call I ever made was to Kevin Miller, and it's the instant gratification 0 Mile Fun Run. And we talked about this last time. There was a cartoonist lived in Boise. His name is Steve Moore, and Steve does a cartoon called In the Bleachers. It's a sports-related cartoon. It's kind of like Far Side, only for sports. Well, he did a cartoon about this instant gratification 0 Mile Fun Run, which is where the start line and the finish line are the same place. So there's no running involved. And as soon as you start, you finish, and you get a T-shirt, and everybody ties for first place. So camping with some of my cartoon buddies, we start talking about it. We said, well, let's just do that. So we set this up. So September 12th, we're doing an instant gratification 0 Mile Fun Run. It is the only official instant gratification 0 Mile Fun Run because the guy who drew the cartoon is going to be there. We're going to bring him out on a litter. He doesn't know this yet, but I've ordered and already have received a French fry crown that we're going to put on him because it's a potato state. We're going to bring him in, great fanfare. The man who actually does the equivalent of Gentlemen Start Your Engines, none other than Kevin Miller. And we're going to ask you to walk around. When people get registered, they're going to get their bibs, just like a regular marathon. You get a chance to interview people there, ask them what they've done to prepare, and the answer would be pretty much zero because you don't have to prepare because you just walk across the line. But once you go across the start line, there will be food trucks and music, and we have firefighters from around the Treasure Valley will be there with some equipment. We're working on some other static displays that we can have for people just to kind of crawl around, but we'll have 9 nationally syndicated famous cartoonists. The ones you see in the Statesman are going to be there. The Family Circus, Pearls Before Swine, Baby Blues, Mad Magazine. We have Paul Combs, who is a famous cartoonist for firefighters, who's going to be there. We have a couple of animators. Jeff Myers, who lives in Boise, he does The Family Guy, King of the Hill. He's done all those animations. We have Casey Fagerquist is going to be there, and she's done Hotel Transylvania and other animated films. They're all going to be there and draw for the crowd for free. So you can get there, you take your kids, you can go there and have your caricatures done, just like those of us who grew up with Mad Magazine. The guys that are going to be there, one of them is Sam Viviano. He was the actual art director for Mad Magazine, famous guy. He was out actually on the USS Idaho. He's got one of his drawings. He did a caricature of Dirk Kempthorne. That's actually posted on the USS Idaho. He's going to be there, and Ed Steckley, who also did Mad Magazine art, he's going to be there. The phenomenal caricaturists. Jeff Keane from Family Circus. All these guys have been to Iraq with me, been to Afghanistan. They're very pro-military, but they're also just great with kids, great with families. And it's all going to be at Payette Brewing Company. Our sponsor, I don't know if you want me to talk about that now, but our sponsor, we're very proud to say, is Lazy Boy of Boise, which is like the perfect sponsor for a 0 Mile Fun Run. And they're excited about it, and we're very excited to have them there. They're going to actually have some Lazy Boy chairs there for people to relax in. We're going to have massage tables for people. Pressing Matters and Therapeutic Associates are going to be there and do massages, so people, as they stress themselves going across that finish line, they can go get a massage and relax a little bit. It's going to be a hoot.
Well, and it's all for a great cause, obviously, and of course,
Right.
you take a look at all these crazy people in their runs. This is a run to end all runs. This is what we're talking about, right?
That's right. It's literally a run to end all runs. Yeah, it's made, it's perfect for someone who maybe wanted to run before, never had a chance to do it, but you actually register. I mean, I should give the website. It's igfunrun.com, which is instant gratification fun run, igfunrun.com, and it's easy to register. When you get there, you'll get a bib just like the real marathoners. You get a swag bag. You'll have the T-shirt and the first place medal. We have a big banner going across the start line, just like in the cartoon. And so you have photo opportunities. We've got some music act coming. I can't announce just yet. We're on the threshold of that. That'll be real big. They'll entertain people while they're there. And I'm hoping that you get a chance to hang out with us and talk to people and just have fun with the whole event. I'm just thrilled that you're part of it. I mean, you and I go back quite a few years, and like I told you this when I asked you, you're the first guy I mentioned, first guy I asked, and when you said yes, I thought, okay, this whole thing's going to be a success. So I appreciate you doing it.
Oh, bro, now you're putting a lot of pressure on me. Yeah, I should have called Billy. Yeah, I know. Kevin, you got 3 people, and 2 of them are Tea Party Bob. Yeah, I know, but...
Tea Party Bob. Now, see, Tea Party Bob can come down. He lives in New Meadows, doesn't he? I mean, Tea Party Bob.
He does.
He can come down. He could do this. I mean, that's a challenge. Tea Party Bob. If you're listening, you need to come down and get into this thing because you'll get yourself a medal and you can frame your bib number, put it up in New Meadows.
Oh no, we would probably auction that off. Now Bob would be the draw. Yeah, Bob would be the draw for that. But Jeff, one more time. The website, please, and I'm going to ask you one more question about how you think this war is going. But the website for people, and we're going to be there. And look, I'm a recluse now, but I will be there for you and for this event as long as you need me. And if you need me to sing, if it's time for people to leave and they just don't want to leave, just have me sing a few notes and people will leave.
God bless you. God bless you. We'll have to get you a microphone and have you sing. That'd be awesome. That'd make it over the top. The website is igfunrun.com, igfunrun.com. And all the proceeds go to charity. We're supporting veterans, and it's all volunteer. Nobody's making any money out of this. In fact, as I set it up, it's costing me a fortune, but it's going to be worth it, I think.
Jeff, and we want to make sure we get your ROI back. I understand as well off as you are, you're not made of money, so duly noted. Let me ask you, the Godless Corporation may not get that, Jeff Bacon, but I do. So back to the how you see this playing out. Okay, how do you see this playing out? We've gone back on the offensive. You and I grew up with the Iranians. We don't trust them. Where do you think this is going, sir?
Well, just my opinion on this, but in that part of the world, strength is respected, and the president has shown strength, and he's given a carrot sometimes, but he also has a stick, and right now he's pushing the stick. And if you read his book, I mean, this is kind of modus operandi for him. And I think the way it will play out, will continue to put more and more pressure onto the Iranians, and eventually they will come to terms with us. I don't know what sort of government's going to be in place. That's way beyond anything I could predict. But I would say, as we have seen so far, our military has been absolutely spectacular. I don't think I could qualify for the military the way that these guys are operating now. So they will do what the president needs for them to do, and we will continue to knock out military infrastructure and put more and more pressure on the Iranian government, so that eventually they're going to have to couple, because they really don't have a choice. We can continue to just drag them down and down and down until they basically can't exist anymore. So I think they're going to have to come to terms with us at some point. And back to my original point, they respect strength, and we're showing strength.
Jeff Bacon, the strong man. We need to have you back, so we will. Appreciate you as always, sir.
I'm at your mercy. Anytime you need me, I'm happy to participate, Kevin. And again, I appreciate everything you have done for the veterans, everything you've done for our state, and it's a pleasure. I mean, even though I'm out in Kansas right now, I listen to you all the time, and just enjoy your show and learn a lot every time. And now today I learned about the screwworm, so I'm pretty happy about that.
It's better to learn about the screwworm than to be one.
I looked it up as soon as I heard about it, and to make sure they're not in Kansas. They're not in Kansas yet, so we're good. So it's hopefully we'll keep them away.
We'll build a wall.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Well, Kevin, thank you for everything, and until the next time.
Thank you, Jeff. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Our great friend Jeff Bacon, IG Fun Run. For more information, Kevin Miller, 580 KIDO. Regardless of who you are, when people put their faith in you, we have to deliver. And Jeff has done so much for veterans in the state, the Wycan Warrior Project. I can remember years ago when that organization started, Mr. Bacon reached out to me and said, hey, Kevin Miller, we want you to host this. And I said, well, I'd love to do it. And then we had this guy named Timmy, and I said, Timmy and I were friends before Timmy double-crossed me, and I said, I'd need Timmy to go with me, and Timmy had his own thing, and then Timmy stole the show, and then Don Nelson and whatever her name was that works for Ada County now, she was there, and then they stole the show. But the Wycan Warrior Project is just such a wonderful cause, and it was born right here in the state of Idaho, right here in Boise. And the only reason why I give you these sidebar details is for entertainment purposes only. But Jeff Bacon, the Wycan Warrior Project, the cartoonists, the military folks, obviously, the great thing about participating in these events is, and by the way, I think the Treasure Valley is such a fitness-centric community. And, everybody's got their running T-shirts or their CrossFit this or whatever. This is an event for the rest of us. So we look forward to that, and we look forward to making sure that we deliver. By the way, the president, we talked a little bit about this with Allen, Ontario, but this is the quote that the libs have been running wild with.
You know what I really love? I love the inflation. You know why? Because as soon as this war is over, I can say it now. Something you didn't know. Do you know we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil? Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran, until right now. We took out the other night 22 ships, late at night with no lights, because they don't have any radar, because we blasted the crap out of it. We took out, that's why oil's $85 a barrel. I mean, you take a look.
There we have it. No credit for that, right? No credit for that, and yet everybody wants to continue to second-guess the president. Also, Pete Hegseth saying this concerning whether or not he's worried about being prosecuted for war crimes.
Or you just mentioned you're going to plan to hit them and strike them hard tonight. If the response is in hitting bridges, electrical infrastructure, how would that not be a war crime potentially targeting civilian infrastructure?
Well, it's precisely the kind of disingenuous question that I'm used to from the media, impugning the motives of the folks on our side who are incredibly professional and incredibly effective. We will hit them hard on our terms, on the targets that improve the environment for us to operate in and undermine the capabilities that Iran wants to have. Again, they can't do that to us meaningfully the way that we can to them, but we're also clearly signaling to them, you have a choice. You have a choice in the way that you respond, and you have a choice with our incredible negotiating team in Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and the vice president and the president, across the board, prepared, Marco Rubio, the whole team, prepared to make a great deal that would benefit Iran. They choose not to, and as a result, they're going to meet the United States Central Command again tonight in the way the president laid out clearly. Yes.
Wouldn't it be nice? Do you remember David Gregory, and there was another gentleman, remember the War Mobile, and maybe you studied this in school, where they actually for the first time had roaming video during the first Gulf War, and yet everybody backed our military against Iraq. They're not backing it now. We'll talk about that next. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget your chance to win tickets to the Boise Music Festival coming up very, very soon. Just listen when I give you the cue to call and be caller 10. Thank you all for playing along with us. Let's get you to work safely and on time. 580 KIDO traffic. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends. I want to thank everybody that has encouraged me to lose weight and will continue to lose weight, hopefully. And if you've been listening to this program for many, many years, I've had my ups and downs, and I want to thank everybody who has believed in me. And I believe that, this program is, if I had to describe this program, I've described it as an old shoe. You have people that are talented, like the late, great Rush Limbaugh, like a guy I listened to, Howie Chiswick, not known by many, but he was the first talk show host that I really understood. I was in 8th grade at the time. Just a brilliant talent. And when I first heard Rush Limbaugh, I thought that actually Rush was stealing Howie's act. But Rush, and having met Rush and been on his program 3 times in the era, it was fascinating to just kind of put yourself in that situation. And and look, people, this isn't a program. Like I said, it's an old shoe. So at 580 KIDO, just to tell you a little bit about where I'm at, what I'm doing, and I know there's been a lot of change in the Treasure Valley, and don't jump to any conclusions, but as I said, I've lost 116 pounds without any type of help medically. And if you're like me and your whole life you struggled with medical issues, and it took a heart problem, finding out when you're literally at the United Nations building that you have to change your life, don't wait to do that. Talk to your medical folks. I have a wonderful person who is my medical guy, Jeremy Fricks, who's been with me for many, many years. People know him in Meridian. Good dude, listens to the program. And, he, Charles at Portico Pharmacy, they're the people that have really stood by me, never any judgment. Kristen Armstrong, Tommy Alquist. We had initially started this project years ago. And, boy, I didn't think I'd get emotional about this, but we started this project years ago, and the pandemic happened. And I will always be grateful to Kristen Armstrong and Polly and the team at Pivot and Tommy Alquist for making me get all these medical checkups and all these things, because if I hadn't had all those medical checkups, this heart condition that I have would not have been detected. And I'm not out of the woods yet, neither is anybody else. The reason why I say this is I was talking to a gentleman yesterday, and they said, what about, what do you do? And I said, you have to say blanket and take care of yourself. We've lost so many great heroes that have been taking us from preventable heart disease. You can prevent the heart disease. You can treat heart disease. So our journey with Dr. Lyle begins today. We'll be going to Peak Health, Idaho, and we will be documenting my heaviest that I was at 367. I weighed in on Sunday at 251, still clinically morbidly obese. And but I had to prove to you and to myself that I was serious this time. So Dr. Lyle, Jeremy Fricks, Dr. Noonan, we're all going into this together. Dr. Lyle will be the quarterbacking this. We'll be documenting everything. We'll be producing videos that I'm paying for out of my own pocket to put together some stuff that will show you and share with you what we're going through, and scientifically to prove that you can lose fat and be healthier by, not doing crazy things, but just what the doctors tell us to do. So we'll be there for about 4 hours today at peakhealthidaho.com. And, if you're in a situation that you're at good health, want to be great, if you want to thoroughly take a look at what's inside your body, they have DEXA body scans, all sorts of it. I'm going to find out. I guess this is a 4-hour protocol I'm going through today. So we will look forward to that. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have that stress test. That'll be done next week. But to put everything up on the table. And there have been, Wow. There have been some people that have been involved in this project over the years through its many failures. One would be Ryan Hilliard. And Ryan Hilliard was a gifted, talented, charismatic, funny camera guy at Channel 7 who tragically was taken from us. He died of cancer. And Ryan was like, take a camera, take him anywhere. And I can remember Ryan getting married to his beautiful wife, Jackie, and then Channel 7 doing a big story on it. Then Ryan passed, and Jackie's still with us. But, I mean, he was just a kid. And I still have the footage that Ryan shot. And Ryan will be, God willing, we get this project done on the credits. And like I said, it's just me doing this. It's, I didn't hire a production company. I've got my guy, my camera guys, and I'm going to try and figure out how to put this together. But that is the fuel that has fed the fire. You've had, if you watch Amazon Prime, you've got Fat Lolly to Little Lolly, and, Jared Lorenz, who died trying to do this. Frank Payne, My Big Fat Body on YouTube, dedicated his body to science, an obese man. He died. It's never been done. And I've been waiting my whole life for the great before picture. And so here we have it. So I wanted to let you know what we'll be doing, and we trust Dr. Lyle and Peak Health Idaho and everything else. I'll be going over everything, and I've got my man Rome shooting, so we'll be doing some shorts and some longer form YouTube on it. But that's what we're doing today. So it's when you say I have so much going on, before I met my beautiful wife, Dorothy, I didn't have anything going on. All I did was this show. And I to the degree that I can understand in my limited capacity, another public service announcement. I understand you have your job and you have your family and going someplace is not fun, but I just urge you, you're all we've got. So I'm going to try to be a better Kevin Miller. I would urge you to be a better person as well. And I know the medical community, sometimes it's not a fun place to be, but you have to do it. It's like going to the dentist. You have to do it, don't you? So please take care of yourself. Coming up, we'll talk more about the screwworm. We're publishing a story now. The screwworm actually is a threat to pets as well. I'll explain next. And coming up between now and 8 o'clock, your chance to win tickets to the Boise Music Festival. And we'll check in with Camp Rainbow Gold. That's right, Camp Rainbow Gold. They're camping, and we're going to cover it next. Kevin Miller, 580 KIDO. KIDO 580-5436, caller 10. You're going to win those tickets to the Boise Music Festival. Marshmallow. We should have a Boise Music Festival Hall of Fame for all the great acts that have been here. Bret Michaels, the Backstreet Boys, Train, Vanilla Ice, Pitbull. I tried to do him yesterday. Pitball, I called him, but good thing I was proofreading my article. But anyway, caller 10 when you're rolling. Phone number's here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And again, as we publish this story on our website, the screwworm can go after your beloved pets. We link to that feature from the Idaho Capital Sun, where your dogs and cats can be victims of the screwworm. Now, what do you do? What do you do to prevent that? Very simply, you look at their, what should I say? You look at their wounds, and you clean their wounds. You make sure there's nothing in their wounds to do that. We'll have that again. That's the scary part about this. The good news is that, it's in Texas and New Mexico. The good news is that we have, thankfully, an Idaho Department of Agriculture that has decided this is what we're going to do. We're going to prevent these things from coming in. So if you have an animal from, New Mexico or Texas, you're going to have to produce some type of certificate of veterinary services to make sure that you are, in fact, your animal is not filled with the screwworm. And the problem we have here is apparently, according to Brooke Rollins, that this has been emanating for a long time. This has been emanating for a very long time, and the Biden administration decided not to do anything about it. The Biden administration decided that they would not deal with this menace. And I'm going, well, why would they do this? But again, this has been building for quite some time. And when you have the Secretary of Agriculture appearing before Congress and saying, look, we need to take care of this screwworm, it's a legitimate threat. And like I said, that's something that you need to know about. Brooke Rollins, again, as we talked about earlier.
I say all of that because what I don't understand, Senator Hoeven, is how did the last USDA watch it coming for years? It broke the gap in 2021, moving up 2022, moving up 2023, spreading, hits Mexico 2024. There's no stopping it. There's not enough sterile flies. Why did no one do anything about it until we walked in the door in January and February of last year? Well, it is a question that I still don't understand, but we're making a lot of progress.
Yeah. Where were you, Joe? Oh, you were out to lunch. The scary part about this is if they don't stop it, and let's hope the meat industry acts way more responsibly than the oil industry and doesn't stick it to us when it comes to the high cost of meat. Apparently, according to the people that we've looked at, by the way, congratulations, Brandon, that we've looked at, that they don't expect the price of meat to go crazy, but it could. It could if we do not, if we don't act appropriately. So at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, let's hope that our state does its very best. Our Department of Agriculture does its very best to keep the screwworm out and to protect our pets, right? Look, life is difficult enough. Expenses continue to go up. We need to restore our standard of living, if you will. We need to restore our standard of living when it comes to affordability. And, are we all going to start going back to baloney, if you will? Are we all start going to go back to, not be, tofu or what have you? Anyway, much more on that in a minute. Let's roll to traffic at 580-KIDO. And good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Kevin. From the Pacific Steel and Recycling Studios, heavy, steady traffic on the freeway, very typical this time of day as you slow at the county line and then into the Meridian area. Don't forget about construction on Homedale Road, Farmway to Chambers, Orange Barrels out there. Mike Miniger's Auto Body has been serving your collision needs from minor dings to major accidents since 1982. Call Mike Miniger's Auto Body. Visit BoiseAutoBody.com. I'm Dave Burnett. That's your traffic now on KIDO.
Down to competency, and I guess a lot of these folks, they don't like to eat the meat, if you will. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. The president earlier today talking about the Iranians. And why do the Iranians continue to fight this war?
It's one of those things. They have no defense. They can't do anything about it. The only thing they have is fake news. They have the New York Times write stories like they're doing great, and they're not. They've been wiped out. CNN and that MS Now, or whatever they call it nowadays, NBC had to get rid of it because it was bad for their reputation.
Yeah, he's right about that. He is right about that. The President of the United States, truly right about where we are and what we're doing and what we're facing. So we'll see how that plays out as we move along. Locally, what are we dealing with? Well, we've got this issue in Caldwell where people are being sued right back and forth. We've got the Attorney General warning people about scams. And I remember a friend of mine saying to me, well, Kevin Miller, I just got this thing about the credit card. And I'm going to do my very best to, to get this rectified. I'm going to contact them and go, no, don't contact them at all. It's a scam. Remember the antiquated days when they were going to do that? remember the antiquated days when, you just had the one credit card scam? Now they're trying to take your Medicare money. We'll tell you how to prevent that next. Kevin Miller, 580 KIDO. Good morning. We always love helping our friends at Camp Rainbow Gold. Of course, camp is going on with our friends at Camp Rainbow Gold right now. Let's go live to the camp. MJ joins us now. MJ, great to have you with us.
Good to talk to you. Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Fascinated to find out what's going on, brother. I know you look forward to this year after year, sir.
Oh, man, we're actually getting ready to start the final day. We just did the morning wake-up call ready for a fun day of, last activities with the kids here. But, it has just been such an amazing week. The campers got here on Sunday afternoon. We've had 3 or 4 days of just great activities. Our normal, field activities, archery, then we have them in the art shack. We've had different activities. We had a magician up here the other day, and they've just been doing some really cool art projects and just really bonding as friends. And it's just been a great week so far.
Boy, it's a tough one when we're talking about it's almost over, right? For this week, at least.
Yeah, it's funny. We look forward to this week all year, and then, you get here, and our leadership team who runs this camp every year does such an amazing job of putting together an action-packed week for the kids here. And then, the adrenaline kicks in when the bus drives up the road and you're off and running, and then, in the blink of the eye, you're coming up on the last day. So it's just, one more full day to really celebrate these kids who had an amazing week and just are some of the most amazing human beings that you'll ever meet on this planet.
MJ, we always talk about the good work at Camp Rainbow Gold, and obviously donations matter. You've seen this year after year. You've been to camp. You love going to camp. They might actually have to pay you to be there because you love it so much, or you'd pay them. But what is it like for the adults to be there, like the staff?
It's life-changing. We have, it's one of the coolest parts about this week is we've had a lot of new faces, both campers and volunteers. And, the volunteers will get up here Saturday before the kids, and we go through the training that we have to go through every year. And we're sitting here talking to these new counselors, and, the one thing we keep saying is it's life-changing. And, sometimes they have this kind of, what did I just join type look on their face? But, within a couple of days, you see them open up and really start to become the spirit of camp, and you see that change in that process going through them, and they pick up on, some of the more emotional parts of camp. But yeah, life-changing is a word that the phrase that I'll keep coming back to. It once it gets a hold of you, it's hard to walk away.
MJ with us at 580 KIDO from Camp Rainbow Gold. Can you describe the camp for us, please? I mean, a lot of us, we're stuck in our cars. We're wishing we were up there with you. But what's the scene like?
Yeah, it's been a little chilly this week, but we have a property now called Hidden Paradise, and it's our forever home, and it's just my most favorite place on earth. I've been lucky and blessed to see corners of this globe that I've never seen before, and this is the one place that I will always put at the top of that list. It's up in the mountains just outside of Fairfield. The Hidden Paradise staff and the Camp Rainbow Gold staff have done a wonderful job over the last few years of really starting to build out this new place and new infrastructure. We have 12 brand new cabins, brand new medical facility. We're in the process of building a brand new welcome center, and they have done such just the beautiful job of the land that we have up here. We have a couple of ponds that the kids love to go fishing in, and they can ride boats in. They've just done such an amazing job of really using every inch of the property up here to build this dream place for these kids to come. We have a brand new playground that actually got installed last year. We have an amphitheater that the kids love to perform in, tell jokes in, do skits in. Like one of the things we're going to do tonight is a big talent show So the cabins are working with each other to come up with their skits or songs that they want to sing. We have a brand new basketball and pickleball court. It's just, I mean, it's literally the perfect place for these kids to come each and every year and have that 1 week where they can forget about everything that they've been going through in their real lives and just be kids with their fellow campers.
What would you say to people to encourage them to donate to make a difference?
The easiest thing to do is always visit the website, Camp Rainbow Gold, camprainbowgold.org. That's the easiest way to donate. And I would encourage everybody to look into volunteer opportunities. We're always looking for volunteers. We had a new counselor this year. I think she said about 2 weeks ago, she was looking for a volunteer opportunity and came across this. And 2 weeks later, she's up here. And she's already told us that, she's planning on coming back each and every year. So we're always listing volunteer opportunities on our website, again, for our 3 main camps, which the youth camp is wrapping up today. The sibling camp is next week, and the teen camp is the following week. We also have 2 family camps and plenty of other opportunities throughout the year. But the best place to go, always for any information or to donate, is camprainbowgold.org.
MJ, anything else you would like to share with us? I mean, camp can be kind of messy sometimes, I would imagine.
It can, but the staff has done a really wonderful job this year. If you kind of want to see what we've been doing this week, you can check out their social media pages on Facebook or Instagram. They've done an amazing job of kind of documenting the week in real time so you can see what these kids are going through. And, we talk about it. Obviously, cancer is a very heavy subject and a very heavy word. And people can kind of, maybe if they've never seen camp before or heard of camp before, maybe have this picture in their mind of like, yeah, I really don't know what that is. But if you check out some of the stuff that's been posted on social media this week for camps pages, you're just going to see these kids smiling and laughing and having the time of their lives. And it's just, again, it's the perfect place for these kids to come each and every summer.
And again, so many people make that happen, like you, that this is your vacation time. MJ, if I've left anything out, here's your chance to correct the record, sir.
I think we pretty much covered, but, again, I would just encourage everybody, if you've never really researched into Camp Rainbow Gold, please visit the website. Again, that's camprainbowgold.org. Our whole history's up there. The whole story's up there. Research it as much as possible. Check out the social media, the YouTube pages. You can see all about it. And again, if you have the time to volunteer, please volunteer. And if you're so kind and have the means and able to donate, that would be much appreciated. We have a couple cool new projects we're working on over the next couple of years that will really intensify this experience for the kids up here and really give them some things that they need here up at Hidden Paradise.
MJ, thank you, sir. Appreciate you making time. Now, please go back and have some fun.
Oh, we, the kids are just getting up, and we're ready to rock and roll for the final day.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
Thank you, Kevin. Always good to talk to you.
Great to talk to you, sir. MJ joining us live from Camp Rainbow Gold. Please help them out. They do such a great service, local, statewide. And the beauty of Camp Rainbow Gold is it helps kids with cancer go to camp. And then not only are we talking about that, but other people that have medical challenges, they get to go to camp as well. And they get to have a good time. And in the world we're living in today, we need to have a good time, right? By the way, that article on the screwworm threat to Idaho is on our website as we roll along. People are still wondering about Graham Plattner. It's pretty bad when you lose the view.
As far as I'm concerned, in a battle between Susan Collins and Graham Plattner, I'm with Susan Collins.
I don't think Republicans at this point can ask us to take the moral high ground.
There you go.
That is over at this point.
That's right.
That is over. It's a choice.
I am sorry. Democrats have always fallen in love, and Republicans have always fallen in line. It's time for Democrats to stop that nonsense, put emotions on the side. Let's be strategic. Let's get some power. Yes. Let's take over the Senate. Let's take over the House, and let's right the ship. Let's get our country back. I am sorry. I am someone that believes in character. I am someone that believes that morals matter. But because of...
Well, apparently morals don't matter to her. And look, the establishment in the Republican Party, they're not down with Don. They're not down with the Don. They're not down with the president. The liberals have been destroyed. They keep trying to build themselves back up like that Terminator. They keep coming back. The media is decimated. So what they've seen here is they want to think that it's just an outlier. The Trump presidency is just an outlier. You know, we're going to get back to John Thune, Mitch McConnell, Mitt Romney, the boys running things. And you deplorables, you're going to be, well, who else are you going to vote for? That's really what this comes down to. So if it takes Plattner or Schmatner or whatever to, in fact, jump on and do all these things, so be it. Let's get in bed with Plattner. I'm not getting in bed with Plattner. I choose not to get in bed with Plattner. And it's weird being here in Idaho where everybody's so friendly. I look back at my former life as being not a hired gun because they never paid me, but being a guy, anyone, anytime, anywhere that would go on these national shows when, with all due respect, most of these people were in high school or elementary school, and how being young now is the advantage. When I was coming up, I had no life experience, and there were a lot of very astute, erudite, smart people that would humiliate me or try to on national television. Now I see it being the reverse, and I see these shows. And first of all, if you're on Facebook at all and you see these people going back and forth and all sorts of things, and people are going after MAGA people, and really what they're doing is the reverse Charlie Kirk, the reverse Ben Ferguson. It's not unique or original. So what they're doing is they're getting on Facebook and they're going, or wherever else, and they're going, hey, MAGA people, and then they'll bring in someone who doesn't study the politics or doesn't memorize the websites, and they try to humiliate them. And they'll pick certain clips to make themselves look good, whether or not that is a true context of what actually happened or not. That's what they will use. And I call them MAGA hunters. They're trying to hunt people down and humiliate them publicly. So you go on these shows, and it's a screaming fest. And whether you're Kieran Finnerty, who is a pundit who used to work. I mean, that's how you get a job there. I used to work for somebody. Well, good for you. We're glad that you used to work for someone. Maybe, in fact, you could used to work for somebody now. Actually go out and get a job. And again, they're all very bright, but they're all very predictable. As soon as something happens, what do they say? Well, Plattner did this with this. Well, Donald Trump. And they go back to the Access Hollywood tape. And they go back to this. The American people, one could argue, and I heard Lars last night talking about the election, they elected Donald Trump 3 times. Donald Trump didn't walk away from anything. Donald Trump has been smeared and all sorts of things. But the American people chose Donald Trump. What the Democrats are saying is that Trump, the deplorables, and the threat to their takeover of the republic, their takeover of the serial incompetency that Joe Biden, the bumbling Inspector Gadget-like fool that Biden was, is so threatened that they have to take down the president, they have to take down the Supreme Court, they have to take down Congress. That clip from The View is wrong. The Republicans never get in line. It's the libs that get in line. And I love this. We're not taking the moral high ground. Well, Sonny, what else does that mean? What else are you willing to do to get a vote? I don't know. There are a lot of things that people could do if they don't have any morals.
I'm concerned in a battle between Susan Collins and Graham Plattner. I'm with Susan
Look,
Collins.
I don't think Republicans at this point can ask us to take the moral high ground.
There you go.
That is over at this point.
That's right.
That is over.
It's a choice.
I am sorry. Democrats have always fallen in love, and Republicans have always fallen in line. It's time for Democrats to stop that nonsense, put emotions on the side. Let's be strategic. Let's get some power. Yes. Let's take over the Senate. Let's take over the House. And let's right the ship. Let's get our country back. I am sorry. I am someone that believes in character. I am someone that believes that morals matter. But because of the state of this country,
Right. We're holding the Iranians responsible and accountable for the first time in 50 years. That's right, the state of the country. Clapping back on DEI, clapping back on a lot of things. By the way, our great friends, Aaron and Joel, they're going to be, once again, forget Midtown Manhattan, forget Broadway on ice, forget the blue. They are where the real action is happening, and that is at the center of Karcher and the Boulevard. A lot of people call it the old Kmart building, but Kmart's been gone a long time, and I think somebody else is in there. But that's not going to stop the boys from Team Mazda from doing the Trade-a-thon Marathon. That's right. You got an old car, you'd like to trade for a newer one without putting any cash down, then you need to go to Team Mazda and the pre-owned superstores Trade-a-thon Marathon this weekend. They've reached out and relocated their entire crew once again, to the old Kmart parking lot on the corner of Karcher and the Boulevard in Nampa. That's where you'll find your trade. You'll swap it for a better used truck, car, or SUV, even a brand new Mazda. The event is so popular, team is offering 130% of book value for your trade. And if your current vehicle is push, pull, drag, or clunker, team will guarantee a minimum $2,000 trade towards your purchase. Best of all, you can trade your trade for an entire down payment. That's right, zero cash down. And here's something a little extra. With a purchase, team will give you a $2,000 gift card from Visa. Use it for gas, a summer getaway, or maybe a real great Father's Day gift for Dad this weekend. One more thing, watch your mailbox for the Strike It Rich mailer and bring it to the Trade-a-thon Marathon to claim your prize. The grand prize is $25,000. There's a winner, and it could be and should be you, right? Trade away your old for new this weekend during Team Mazda's Trade-a-thon Marathon at the old Kmart parking lot in Nampa. That's on the corner where the action happens on Karcher and the Boulevard. Look for the big white tent and drive home in a newer vehicle. Please tell them Kevin Miller sent you. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Laura Ingraham to a Republican senator. I believe it's Tim Sheehy from Montana, and basically saying, hey, man, people are hurting, bro.
A lot of people are sick of this. They want it done. People who are like, just finish it. Or we should have finished it earlier. Should have gotten. I mean, it is what it is. We are where we are. But those inflation numbers that came in today at 4.2%, the CPI, and there's some nuances with those numbers, but nevertheless, people are feeling this. And to minimize that is unwise for a Republican to do. People are hurting. They see a light at the end of the tunnel, a lot of folks, but they want these energy prices to come down. Do you think the Iranians thought, oh, we got him now with the political situation on the ground in the United States? Are they looking at that?
Of course they are, and that's why it's been incredibly frustrating to have not just Democrats, but some Republicans in the media, from the day this started, take the side of a murderous terrorist regime, and they've undermined the president and what's good for this country from the very, very beginning, Laura, and it's been incredibly frustrating to watch. We don't in any way dismiss the inflation numbers, but let's not forget, the gas prices we see today, the inflation we see today, those were the gas prices and inflation under Obama and Biden. That was the norm. This is a temporary bump that is a result of us trying to solve a half-century threat that will continue to threaten Americans for generations to come if we don't solve it. I commend the president for having the courage to try to attack this problem that 6 presidents have quite frankly kicked the can on for all the reasons we're now seeing. This is a tough problem to solve, no doubt about it.
And proving why he is one of those Montana senators, Senator Sheehy. Kevin Miller, 580-KIDO.
I talked to a lot of people. People are sick of this. They want it done. People who are like, just finish it. Or we should have finished it earlier. Should have gotten. I mean, it is what it is. We are where we are. But those inflation numbers that came in today at 4.2%, the CPI, and there's some nuances with those numbers, but nevertheless, people are feeling this. And to minimize that is unwise for a Republican to do. People are hurting. They see a light at the end of the tunnel, a lot of folks, but they want these energy prices to come down. Do you think the Iranians thought, oh, we got him now with the political situation on the ground in the United States? Are they looking at that?
Of course they are, and that's why it's been incredibly frustrating to have not just Democrats, but some Republicans in the media, from the day this started, take the side of a murderous terrorist regime, and they've undermined the president and what's good for this country from the very, very beginning, Laura, and it's been incredibly frustrating to watch. We don't in any way dismiss the inflation numbers, but let's not forget, the gas prices we see today, the inflation we see today, those were the gas prices and inflation under Obama and Biden. That was the norm. This is a temporary bump that is a result of us trying to solve a half-century threat that will continue to threaten Americans for generations to come if we don't solve it. I commend the president for having the courage to try to attack this problem that 6 presidents have quite frankly kicked the can on for all the reasons we're now seeing. This is a tough problem to solve, no doubt about it.
Yeah, here we have it. Great comments there by Senator Sheehy. Let's go to the phones, and we talk to our friend Lucille, who joins us now on 580 KIDO. Hello, Lucille.
Good morning, Kevin. Well, I have to rewind a bit. I am sick and tired, fed to the back teeth, with Democrats smiting their chest and pretending that they have the moral high ground. They accuse us of saying we do, and they don't even have it. So don't give me, they are the most immoral people on earth. Just look at the groups they support. Anything from terrorists, illegal aliens who rape, murder, and steal. Those are the groups that they support. So don't give me any nonsense about them having the high moral ground. And I am sick and tired of them saying, we want our country back. No, they want their power back. That is the only thing they want. Because they want to tell us how to think, what to say, what to wear, what to eat, what to drink. They want to run our lives. And we are so deplorable. How dare us not allow them to do that? So honestly, Kevin, I am up to the eyebrows with these people huffing and puffing about the high moral ground, and they love their country. No, they don't. No, they don't. They've said it loud and clear. They love their country when their country gives them power. That is the only time that they love this country. Otherwise, it's a country of immoral history, of slavery, because you see, the United States invented slavery. Before the United States came to happen, it did not exist. So don't give me any rot, please. I'm sick of these people. And I just want to remind my fellow Republicans that whatever they think of Trump, if we lose these midterm elections, we are going to go back to Joe Biden with a vengeance. And Iran is going to have its nuclear power. No, not for domestic use, for, to bomb the big Satan, that's you and me, dearie, and Israel. And we're going to go back to, 170 genders, and we're going to go back to high taxes, and we're going to go back to inflation, don't you worry. If you think you're paying high prices now, just wait until you get those bastards in again. And I just want people to politely remind them of that, Kevin. No, the Republican Party is not perfect. No, Trump may not be perfect. Neither is anybody else. Only God is perfect. Okay? But if we have to choose between, I would go with what we have now. So please, I am sick to death of the immorals, the cheaters, because that's what they are. That's the only way they win. Cheating, defaming, bringing people down, murdering, that is the only way they win. If that is what people want, well, just to get, if they want to cut their noses off to spite their faces, well, what can I do? More fool them. But, Kevin, I am tired. No, we have to at least let Trump finish his term. He's got less than 2 years and a half. In the scheme of things, that is a fraction of a second. So, I'm with you on this. I've never seen anything like their Iranian war coverage, though. Well, I told you from the first that I'm not happy with that. I never made a secret of that. And of course, you cannot be happy because the media is not in favor of Trump. And unfortunately, there are people who just get convinced by the last con artists that talk to them. And so if they hear the media say, oh, this is terrible, yes, this is terrible, we have to vote against Trump. We have those too in our ranks, Kevin. What can I tell you? And of course, now, having said that, I'm going to say what I told you once when I talked about this subject. Trump has got to wrap this up, Kevin. He has to wrap this up. This is ridiculous. We cannot go, diplomacy. You cannot talk diplomacy to these people. They have a different mentality. These are people who strap bombs on their children and send them off to blow them up so that they can kill Israelis. You want to deal with?
Okay, hold on. Let me take a break. Can you hang on for a minute? I want to come back at you on that, if you don't mind.
No.
Not that I disagree with you, but there's an element that I want to get your reaction and everybody else's. Lucille, please hang on. More coming up next. 580 KIDO. Let's get you to work safely and on time. I think what the president is viewing, and Pete Hegseth said this earlier at 580 KIDO, is, look, now you have people floating war crimes against these people if we make them feel the pain. So here's a man who's been prosecuted, the president, that if the libs get in, they're going to go after him for war crimes. And let's face it, our friends, the Europeans, they hate him too. They hate us too. So I'm sure we could see war crimes going up against this president for doing the right thing.
Completely agree with you. Totally, every word. That's why he has to wrap it up. I'm not saying he shouldn't do it. I never said that. No, it's right. Whatever people say, all the rest of the presidents before him, and of course our lily-livered friends in Europe, of course, they don't make waves. No, don't upset them. Don't upset them, and they'll be nice to us. And they kept kicking the can down the road. I never denied that. But that doesn't mean, Kevin, that he has to drag this on forever. That is all I am saying. I'm all for really smacking them on the snout and saying, behave yourselves or else. But all this mollycoddling, because that's what it sounds like, all this, we want a dialogue. You cannot have a dialogue with these people. These people kill themselves, Kevin. They blow themselves up just for the pleasure of blowing those around them up as well. You're going to dialogue with those people. You're going to have
No. Okay, Lucille. So again, here's another one. I am with you, but we have people in America, Republicans and Democrats, and stupid people in the media going, well, this is his war of choice. He did this. This was unnecessary. As if the Iranians are good, wholesome people.
Exactly. I never denied any of that, Kevin. I never denied any of it. Of course, because Trump is Trump. It's the usual, well, he walks on water because he can't swim. And he found the cure for cancer, but he said he did nothing for ingrown toenail. Whatever Trump does is going to be wrong because he is Trump, which is why Trump very wisely ignores everybody and does what he has to do. But the only thing I want is for him to wrap this up quickly, because we have midterm elections coming, we have stupid people voting, and that is not a good combination. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know this is making me no friends, but unfortunately, as I said before, there are people who are going to be convinced by the last one who talks to them. And if the last one who talks to them say, ooh, Trump is a war criminal, ooh, they'll go with it, Kevin. They'll go with it. Because it's much easier than doing their own homework, than finding out things, than reading a bit of history, preferably the unrevised one, and which means the one not written by Democrats. I understand what you're saying, Kevin, and I'm all with you, and I'm with President Trump. Unfortunately, there are people who are too susceptible to the pseudo-expert's opinion, the pseudo-expert being the blabbercrats. So we are in agreement, Kevin. I am just wanting this to end because, quite honestly, we need to keep Congress, Kevin. We have to do that. Speaking strictly from the pragmatic point of view, and I'm sure you agree with me on that.
No, I do agree with you. And if the world were run by Lucille, we'd be a lot better off.
Yeah, if they treat Trump the way they treat me, I would have been shot and, copped at the very first intent. So I'm not sure about that. No, but it's true, Kevin. I don't want anybody to think that I'm not supporting the president. On the contrary, I am supporting him so much that I want him to end up his mandate, and he has a mandate. I want him to end it up well. I want him to keep Congress so that he can continue to do the good things that he's doing, because if Democrats win, all that is going to go belly up. They're going to undo everything he did. They're going to impeach him for the 1,000th time. They seem to get a sort of weird pleasure out of that, but they're the kings of weird pleasures, so I'm not surprised. I want Trump to be on top of it till the end of his mandate. And that is why all these things worry me. Tell me what you think.
I agree. The dynamic is that Trump has no one except his own world. And look at this man. It's just you and me. So the establishment Republicans hate him. The libs hate him. The media hates him. No one's coming to save him, including NATO. So it's just Trump against the world.
Hang on, Kevin. He's got millions of people who gave him a complete mandate. Those don't hate him.
I think the tables have turned a little because of the. I think the tables have turned because of Kristi Noem's botching with the ICE thing. And again, Lucille, people are worried about their the economy, and they're worried about this, and this, and they've had the months of liberal media indoctrination.
So what are we going to do, Kevin? Are we just going to give up? You say, you're right. Absolutely, you're right. Let's give up.
No. Hold on, Lucille. Don't get mad at me. I'm just giving you the other side. I'm with you, but look, if the world were run by you and me, it'd be a lot better off. And sadly, it isn't.
Well, yes, no, it isn't. But I want to trust that there are still honest, good, straight-thinking people besides you and me. We can't be the only ones, Kevin.
Yeah. Well, and Lucille, I'm with you. Lucille, thank you for the call. Our friend Rocky pointing this out. Kevin Miller, when the president is blamed for the New York Knicks loss the other night, that says it all. Yeah, thank you, Rocky. By the way, sorry, Rocky, your San Antonio Spurs lost. People still can't. We're bombing Iran, inflation, and, not that any of us, really care what goes on in New York, but we're so programmed. Jerry Seinfeld, Larry David, Taylor Swift. Hey, look at me. I'm at the Knicks game. Meanwhile, the rest of us are working 5 jobs. Kevin Miller, 580 KIDO. Why don't we do this? Caller 10, you're going to win those tickets to the Boise Music Festival. Appreciate that. Appreciate you. We want to give you as many chances to win that family 4-pack. Caller 10 right now at 580-5436-580 KIDO. We are talking about military action. Of course, the president meeting with the press yesterday, having this to say concerning the downed helicopter.
This morning about Iran, you said that they've taken too long to get to a deal. I want to make sure I quote you correctly. You said that now they will have to pay the price.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that specifically?
Well, we're going to be attacking them very hard.
You're resuming bombing?
Yeah, well, we are. Based on the helicopter, I guess we have the right to do that. They shot down a very incredible machine. And at first they said they didn't do it. Then they admitted they did. It was sort of easy because we have the bomb. We actually have the bomb. Got very lucky that bomb didn't explode. That bomb was lodged in the helicopter. It didn't explode. It was on fire, but it didn't explode. Those two guys, they knew how to fly, but they got very lucky. And then we had the unmanned boat going very, very fast at speeds that you wouldn't want to go. That's why it's unmanned, I guess, because nobody can go in that. But they rescued, so both people are, fortunately, the pilots are okay. Now, look, I've been working with Iran for a number of months, and they should sign their deal. It's a good deal. It doesn't give them the right to have a nuclear weapon. In fact, it totally prohibits them from ever having a nuclear weapon. And it was just tap, tap, tap. I don't know what they're doing. So they then shot at our helicopter. Very expensive helicopter, by the way, but much more importantly, the two men, fortunately, they're okay. But an amazing rescue. If you ever get a clip, you won't believe the rescue, how cool it was. The equipment we have. Look, we have the strongest military in the world. And I gave them a break at the request of Pakistan. The Field Marshal and the Prime Minister of Pakistan are great. We stopped them from going to war with India. You would have had a nuclear war if it wasn't for me. But they became friendly to me, very friendly, and they're close to Iran, and they worked. And they still are working on trying them to do what's right. But we want a deal that's meaningful. We want a deal that works. We don't want to just have a Barack Hussein Obama deal, JCPOA, the worst deal. That was a path to a nuclear. It's the exact opposite. You know, I like on television, they say, oh, they should have kept that deal. First of all, it was over.
Yeah, so the president revealing this detail, this troubling detail, that apparently the bomb was supposed to go off, and the bomb was lodged in the side of the helicopter. So those two brave crew members on that Apache should be dead. By the way, congratulations to Ernest. I wonder if it's Ernest from Star. Ernest, congratulations. You're going to Garden City. You're going to see the Boise Music Festival. Appreciate that. Appreciate you. And, of course, we appreciate everybody listening. Keep it here. By the way, we do have a complete list of where you can find tickets, free tickets to the Boise Music Festival. All you have to do is go to our website, KIDOtalkradio.com, and check it out. And you'll see the article I just put up last night. 2 great Americans want you to go to Garden City to see the Boise Music Festival for free. And there are ticket stops. There are other programs, radio shows within the Town Square Media family that will be giving away tickets between now and June 27th. A few things coming up. Not only are we going to be at the Boise Music Festival, we'll be at Idaho Patriot Thunder once again, an event so big, so large, so dynamic, they actually shut down the highway during that event. So a double play weekend for us as we, again, roll on. We'll be very happy on that. Boise Music Festival Saturday, and then Idaho Patriot Thunder Sunday. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. More with you and me next. Again, congratulations to Ernest. Let's get you to work safely and on time. 580-KIDO traffic. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Kevin. From the Pacific Steel and Recycling Studio, traffic still heavy on the freeways. You approach Locust Grove coming eastbound down into the Meridian area. Just be patient through there. No major accidents working right now. Vincent Lumber is your cedar factory outlet, saving you up to 70% off the big box stores. And now more convenient than ever. Vincent Lumber, now open in Cuna. Online at vincentlumber.com. I'm Dave Burnett. That's your traffic now on KIDO.
Appreciate that, Dave Burnett. And again, keep it here for your chance to win tickets to the Boise Music Festival. Like I said, looking forward to seeing everybody in historic Garden City, Idaho. A couple other stories that were really being made aware of. You're going to love this one from an opinion writer here. You're going to love this. The Federalist Society, Federalist.com. Plattner's victory proves left doesn't care about moral deficiencies. And I love this one from the Federalist as well. Here's the slogan. With Plattner, Dems discover their motto, vote for the Nazis. That's right. Let me share that with you. Democrats have long emphasized the importance of character in politics, particularly when it comes to the opposition to President Trump. However, in recent primary elections in Maine, Democrats overwhelmingly supported Graham Plattner, a candidate with a history of bearing a Nazi tattoo and making disturbing comments about rape and violence. By the way, did Plattner ever say he was sorry for any of that stuff? Guess not. Despite the party's previous calls for moral fitness in candidates, prominent Democrats like Bernie, and Elizabeth Warren have thrown their support behind Plattner, revealing a prioritization of winning over decency. This shift in attitude raises questions about the true values of the Democratic Party and their willingness to compromise on principle for political gain. Oh, come on now. Come on, Federalists. We all know there's no principle. It's all about winning the election. We heard Sonny Houston say, look, I'm sorry, I'm not taking the moral high ground. I'm not doing any of these things. I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to make sure that we win. I'm going to make sure that we win at all costs. And by the way, we're going to make sure that we win, no matter what. By the way, and this is why, and we're not going to get any love for the media on this because they hate it, but this is why we need a Republican House. Oh, Kevin, they're not perfect. They may not be perfect. However, you're going to love this thing. So they've got some of the liberal loons up there. They've got the lady from Act Blue, one of these big progressive groups. And they said to her, can you confirm your name? I don't know. Remember, we played this clip yesterday. Chip Roy. Get to the Southern Poverty Law Center people.
How many extremist Islamic groups do you have of the 1,500 or so organizations you have on your hate map?
Again, anyone can go to our website.
My office has been looking over and we can't really find one.
Again, it is the SPLC's.
You think
right.
SPLC could provide us a list of the Islamic-oriented groups that you have on your hate map?
Mr. Roy, we don't target any group because of its religion.
Really?
I want to be clear about that.
Really?
Yes, that's exactly right. We target no group because of its religion. We target groups because they express statements and engage in activities that demean and vilify.
So you brought up LGBTQ groups a second ago.
Roy.
So you brought up LGBT groups a minute ago. So you think there's a bunch of Islamic groups that are pro-LGBTQ? Is that the position of the SPLC? I just want to make sure the record is reflecting that.
Yeah, agreed at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And these people are being, thankfully, put to task. Now, can you arrest them? I don't know if you can arrest them. I don't know what you can do with them. But the fact that you have people from Act Blue and others being hauled in before Congress, and that is going to impact their fundraising. That is going to impact their credibility. That is going to impact a lot of things. But again, I can't get over, pleading the fifth on all these things. When it comes to your name, you're going to plead the fifth? Why would you plead the fifth when it comes to your name? Something to really think about. What's incriminating about your name? Is there anything wrong with that? Now, the liberals hate this because we're holding these people accountable. The liberals don't like that we're putting them in the spotlight, as we should. And we'll continue to do that as long as we're in this together. Kevin Miller, 580-KIDO.
Your company's memo states, and I quote, "If an otherwise legitimate donor uses a fake name, we would want to accept their donation," end quote. Can you confirm whether this is the advice that you give to your employees?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
So that was yesterday. We'll
pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights.
Hold on.
Under the Constitution.
Hold on there, lady. We're going to get to you in a minute. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. So Act Blue before Congress, Jim Jordan making the call. James O'Keefe, remember him? He exposed this years ago. The fraud, the money, the laundering is blatant. Hopefully the FBI under Kash Patel and Todd Blanche will take a look at these things. Not only that, the Southern Poverty Law Center that has been pumped up by the media. Of course, again, with the media ownership changing, the tide is changing, and people that want the old order continuing to make sure that keeping the good people down, well, they're threatened. So we'll see how it plays out, but just a little Act Blue for all of us.
Your board chairman said Act Blue accepted up to 38 million contributions in 2024 that had the signs of foreign origin. How much fraud is too much fraud?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
How many foreign contributions did Act Blue accept?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
How much money did Act Blue accept from Russia?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Why did your entire team quit? Your in-house legal team?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Did your legal team quit because of reduced fraud standards?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Understand. Yeah. And we won't keep you here all day, but let me just do one more. Did you weaken your fraud standards to help Democrats?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline.
There we have it. Apparently, I think I'm trying to find the clip where they asked her name, and she wouldn't even give her name. She just kept going the fifth and fifth and fifth. She invoked the Fifth Amendment 22 times during the House probe concerning foreign donations and the lack of vetting. Now, remember, let's take a look at this. Why would you plead the Fifth? I kind of like the idea at work. Kevin, did you do your work? On the advice of counsel, I respectfully invoke my rights under the Constitution, the Fifth Amendment. The only reason to plead the Fifth, to avoid providing evidence that could lead to your own criminal charges, because the question touches on a potential illegal activity. The testimony could expose their crimes, their organization, or associations to an investigation. Like she said, on the advice of counsel, she's trying to avoid perjury, where she knows she's in trouble. Mark, the watchdog of Eagle, Idaho, with Kevin Miller on 580 KIDO. Mark, thank you for listening. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. You must have been reading my mind, because right before you played that, I was involved in sending you from the Gateway Pundit, Watch Act Blue CEO Regina Wallace-Jones invoked Fifth Amendment over 20 times in House Administration Committee hearing. I was just sending you that as you were talking about it. So I guess they say great minds think alike. So thank you for playing that. And like I said the other day here at KIDO, Kevin, you can add them to the Southern Poverty Law Center as a corrupt demon rat control organization. Act Blue has done nothing but launder, and it's not millions or hundreds of millions. It's in the billions of dollars since their existence and money to the demon rat party. And who knows where it all goes? I mean, you look at California, the fraud, again, they can't afford to lose that state and to keep the stranglehold on California through fraudulent elections, because they don't want to lose that taxpayer money that they screw them out of down there all these decades, since they've corruptly won either, whether it be counties or districts there in California. They got to keep that. They want to control that money flow, being the fifth or sixth largest economy on earth. So, and Act Blue is part of this. Now, the Southern Poverty Law Center, just before the top of the hour, sir, you had mentioned about, should people go to jail? You're damn right they should, because the money that went to groups that incited riots, that created protests that either hurt, maimed, destroyed property, whatever, it's like yelling fire in a theater and people get injured running out of a theater. You can get sued for that. You can go to jail for something like that. Okay, so the same thing applies with the Southern Poverty Law Center and what they did to fund organizations and pit people against each other and create chaos and mayhem for law enforcement, for for people in general. So, yeah, you damn right they should have people that go to jail who are behind, that sponsor this. And was it that Derek Morse or Morse Deese or whatever happened to that crumb bum? Did he die? Did he finally kick the old bucket? Because he was the head of that center at one time. Morse Deese.
Yeah, no, I remember him. You know, it's funny. I know the SPLC from my days in Alabama. We would debate it, and you're gonna love this one. I can remember one of the times, and the libs always like to get me on, and they would have these intellectuals, and not, you know me, I'm a commoner. So it was Mark Potok from the Southern Poverty Law Center, and we were debating the use of hitching post for prisoners. And of course, he argued against it, and I argued in favor of it. So it was a fascinating conversation. I said, "Look, man, they're bad. They need to be, just put them there, and they'll be fine." But Mark Potok accused me of all sorts of things. But and I think and they never had a sense of humor. So amazing.
People out there in the KIDO audience, I don't think I know a lot of us do, but I don't think everybody realizes how precious and how important a person you are, Kevin Miller, here at KIDO, and the listening audience, and the people that you have known over the years as a broadcaster in the talk radio format. You have known and met a lot of very important people, and people can bring things up like myself, and then you'll tie in people that I forgot about. I mean, like you just said, that Mark Potok, yeah. Name was. Yeah, I mean, so you have known, you've been there, you've done that. And I love you for that, and your knowledge and your ability to bring other people that you have met, known, whatever, as a talk show host and news media personality, and relate them to stories that any of us callers that here at KIDO bring up. So, but I did want to point that out. Thank you for bringing up that segment on the Act Blue and the corrupt CEO. And again, yes, the Southern Poverty Law Center, yes, because of the things they incited, the riots they would cause, damage, I'm sure, to property, and probably people could, over the years, I'm sure there were people get murdered or killed or maimed as a result. Yeah, you damn right. Find out and then throw them in jail. Let a class action lawsuit come out for people that were harmed. The police organizations that had to go to these protests at taxpayer expense to keep them from fighting with each other because of what they promoted, what they tried to do, which is, again, like yelling fire in a crowded theater. I'll let you go at that. You have a great day there at KIDO, Kevin.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Treasure Valley Subaru. Kevin Miller, 580 KIDO. People are still wondering what to do about Graham Plattner. I think the Republicans are going to just drop a brick on him, if you will. General Keith Kellogg had this to say to Sean Hannity.
Sean, thanks for having me. Look, I think the president's had the patience of Job. He's really done a wonderful job in keeping the patience and extending the negotiations. I think we've reached a point where we're just going to say we're done with these guys. And politically, we say stop the negotiations. Have our team come home, say, our phone number, give us a call.
Yes, exactly. At 580-5436-580 KIDO, it's just time to bring the pain, if you will, again and again and again, and that needs to happen. And obviously, when we're looking at what the Iranians have done, and we have the media that we need to overcome, it's going to be a challenge. But the president says that he's going to bomb, and he's going to bomb and bomb and bomb.
Will there be more bombing tonight?
Yeah, there will be more bombing tonight. It'll be bigger, more powerful. Don't forget, we've knocked out all of their anti-aircraft. They don't have any they have nothing. I mean, they may get lucky with a shoulder weapon or something, but for the most part, they have no defense.
What did the representative say in your phone call with them?
Excuse me. They're finished. But the papers, the media refuses to write it. They're finished. We can walk in there tomorrow. We could take soldiers. I don't want to have boots on the ground, but if I wanted to, we could put a small group of soldiers and take over the whole place. They're finished. And the media is crooked. They're just like our elections. The media is crooked.
The president rolling earlier this morning on Fox and Friends. Remember, when you hear Fox News on the radio, you're listening to 580 KIDO. The president of the United States apparently is ready to go. Can't say that I blame him. The rules of the game, some say they've changed. Not really. You have people that are going to be critical. As we said to Lucille earlier, Lucille saying, this is what we have to do. It's kind of tough when you don't have any allies. The president tells the World and the Wall Street Journal that he's going to take a look at their energy situation. The president threatened to strike Iran, quote, very hard and take total control of the country's oil and gas markets, a sign that he has abandoned the diplomatic route and is aiming to force Tehran into a nuclear deal that it has resisted for months and years. The U.S. is not in the far distant future would take Karg Island, which sits off the Iranian southern coast, as the country's main oil export hub, Trump said in a Truth Social post, and assume total control of their oil and gas markets, much like we have in Venezuela, which is working out brilliantly for both Venezuela and the United States of America. Well, again, how do you deal with the insurgents? And how do you deal with a country of 90 million people? What the president wants to do, and really it comes down to an old legal strategy. And this is a brilliant strategy. And the president has tried to use this, and the Iranians don't get it. Case in point, years ago, I had somebody who I was working with. In fact, maybe we should get Peter Thiel on. He was a witness to this. And Peter Thiel actually appeared in court with me on this one. So, and this is a lesson. We're here at this charity basketball game, and you have a guy that, for some reason, takes out a couple of the charity people. And then he just has a bad day and loses it and starts threatening people and then calling people at night, threatening to literally kill all of us. And we were on his team. And it got so much of a concern that they hired private security. No one will press charges. Well, there was one nitwit that pressed charges. Can you guess who that was? It wasn't Peter. It was good old Kay Milley. And I pressed charges. And he was arrested. And we had a hearing for threatening and everything else. And I can remember going to the boss and going, hey, man, I'm worried about this guy. I've seen him around. And he goes, punk? Well, he didn't call me a punk, but he had a high voice. And he said, I could go see his lawyer. I can't even do his voice. I can't do it justice. So I go to the boss's lawyer, and, you can always tell the lawyers, the young ones are aggressive and this, that, and the other, and they always have the plush offices, and that's really what you're paying for. You're paying to talk to a therapist that really can tell you what you want to hear, what you don't want to hear. So I go into the lawyer, and I go, yeah, man, I want to get this guy. He goes, well, he has a criminal record. You can send him back to the pen. And I go, yeah, I want to do the right thing, and I want to get a restraining order. He goes, that's not going to do anything. And I go, what do you mean it's not going to do anything? And this was this lawyer's opinion. It's not my opinion of restraining orders. And he said, look, you've pushed this guy to the edge of the cliff. If you push him off the cliff, then chances are for the rest of his life, once he gets out of the pen, that you're going to be living in his head for quite some time until you're not. And I said, he's that dangerous? And he said, yes. So what the president has tried to do with the Iranians, and then we went to court, and this was Southern justice, if you will, where the judge said, all right, you get out of town. And the guy literally was drunk behind us. I felt bad for his wife at the time, who perhaps was a victim of domestic violence. And literally, how do you live with a person who's a violent offender, both to the public and had been served time in the pen with, and then physically beat you? She was looking for a way out and eventually did. But there's Peter Thiel and I, I think that was towards the end of our relationship. So Peter turns around and tries to give him the Minnesota nice. He goes, "I'll kill you right here in the courtroom." I'm going, So again, we pushed him to the limit, and then he moved out of the state eventually. The president really, really, really would love to push them to the cliff. The Iranians are ready to jump off the cliff. They don't care. It's like the scene in the movies, and hopefully you've never been there. I've been that idiot where I don't care. Bring it on. Bring it on. And then you get popped in the face and go, I really think I shouldn't have brought it on, but you bring it on. And I'm going to do the right thing. And morally, ethically, philosophically, you're right, but there's a cost. The president has reached a point, like George Bush did with Iraq, that he's all in. And that means he is, and he's posturing that he's all in. And he should, because obviously the media is already against him. The libs are already against him. Everybody else is against him. And when you have people saying, there's not much to bomb, there's a lot left to bomb in Iran. If it truly, and again, they don't have the fake news in Iran. They're going to make sure that they stay out of those things. They're going to make sure that they don't talk about the plight of the Iranian people. Remember, this is a regime, when they talk about the unnecessary war, so it's okay to kill 40,000 people unarmed. It's okay to do that. Is it? By the way, I don't believe that's ever happened under the Biden administration, where we have Mark Wayne Mullen, Secretary Mullen of Department of Homeland Security, talking about how many children were missing that were lost under Joseph Robin Biden.
You know, I tell people that I haven't quit smiling since I've been Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, but I have to take that back, because when we start digging into these cases and you start hearing the absolute horrific things that took place underneath the Biden administration, under true neglect at best and criminal at worst, to allow 450,000 kids to go missing throughout this country. President Trump has made it a point to go find these kids. And because of our partnership with HHS and DOJ, Department of Homeland Security, truly using the best of the best, to which the Democrats sometimes want to demonize, because a lot of times this is ICE, this is HSI, this is CBP. These individuals that the Democrats seem to want to defund, but because of President Trump, we finally funded them for 3 years. We're able to push and go find these kids. We found 146,000 kids so far. 146,000 kids. We still have nearly 300,000 missing.
Look, you can't push back on Donald Trump for this one now, can you? A big difference between this guy and Kristi Noem. We'll talk about it next. Fox News on your home for Fox News, 580 KIDO.
We're investigating reports to where some of these kids claim that they were raped 600 to 700 times. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you have kids, if you don't have kids. I don't care if you're a liberal, you're independent, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican. If you can't stand for law enforcement to go find these kids, who are you? Who are you? Every leader should understand what's going on. And do you know where we're finding the most of them? Sanctuary cities. Because they know they're safe. That's why they're called sanctuary cities. Because of President Trump's leadership, we're going into those sanctuary cities. We have mayors like Mandami in New York who want to say you're not welcome. As a mayor, he knows what's happening on the streets. He knows who he's harboring, and at this point in abating. By saying that we can't go operate, we're going to. We're going to go find the worst of the worst. We're going to rescue as many kids as we possibly can. We're going to enforce our nation's laws, and we're going to right the wrongs that the Biden administration turned a blind eye to.
Wow. Pretty powerful right there, right? An amazing, powerful testimony there by Senator Mark Wayne Mullen. And really, it shows you the difference, in my opinion. And I know the man who, defends Kristi Noem will disagree with me, Tea Party Bob. But I will tell you, it lends the difference between someone who is actually trying to save these kids. We never heard about this during the Noem administration. We just heard about we're going to stuff and cuff people, and she's going to appear in videos and all sorts of things. Well, that's great. That's great for her that she can, position herself on the public dole. However, at 580-5436-580-KIDO, you can position yourself on the public dole. You can do whatever you want. But what about these kids? Remember when they talked about Trump had the kids in cages, and we need to let them out, and we're going to just let them out with people, and they're going to be with the people that matter and people that love them. And then we found out that they were pimps and coyotes and thieves and all these other punks grabbing these children, harming these children. As you just heard with Mark Wayne Mullen, I don't care who you are. This is wrong. Now, where is Scott Pelley on this one? Where is 60 Minutes on this one? This hits close to home. It should hit everywhere. By the way, who's responsible for kidnapping these kids? Let's hear from the Attorney General of the United States.
Today we are announcing the indictments of 3 individuals: Maritza Kawik Koch, her brother, Carlos Agustin Kawik Koch, and Gladys Marina Call Chen. This was out of the Northern District of Ohio. All 3 are illegal aliens from Guatemala who allegedly took part in a wide-ranging conspiracy to smuggle more than a dozen children into the United States by scamming the system and exploiting the loopholes created by the last administration. This is one example, one indictment, but it is not unique. There are over 15,500 super sponsor cases that we have identified along with DHS.
Yeah. And Todd Blanche is a bad guy. President Trump is a bad guy. We're all bad people for taking care of children. I was looking online. Apparently, there was another tragedy in Idaho committed by someone here illegally. Haven't seen anything on the media about this. Haven't seen anything on anything else about this. But at 580-5436-580-KIDO, very disconcerting. Very disconcerting. And you can have people doing their soliloquy for what happened in Wilder and helping people against the government, which I believe is aiding and abetting illegal activity. But here you have a family that lost a loved one because someone was in the country illegally. Someone was in the country that should not have been in the country. And yet they vilify the Republicans. They vilify those folks that want to save children. And looking rather deeply into this, where was Kristi Noem on this? Kristi Noem had visions of glory and grandeur and everything else. But this is what needs to be done. This is Tom Homan. This is the Attorney General, Kash Patel. And this happened under Joe Biden. Joe Biden made this happen. By the way, this portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Treasure Valley Subaru. Want to know the most popular used vehicles people are shopping for right now? The Toyota RAV4, the Toyota Corolla, the Honda CR-V, the Honda Civic, the Ford F-150, and the Toyota Tacoma. Where can you find any one of these or every one of these? How about the Idaho Center Pre-Owned Superstore at Treasure Valley Subaru? Rob knows what people are looking for, so he sends his buyers out to find the most in-demand vehicles and keep them in stock. And when you buy from the Idaho Center Pre-Owned Superstore, you can buy with confidence because every vehicle goes through the Treasure Valley Service Center for a complete inspection before it goes on the lot. Now, here's something that's very popular with used car shoppers. Subaru Outback and Subaru Foresters. Treasure Valley Subaru has 29 pre-owned Subarus in stock right now. Every one of them is backed by a 7-year, 100,000-mile factory warranty, giving you extra peace of mind after you drive away. So if you're shopping for a better used vehicle, start at Treasure Valley Subaru, the Idaho Center Pre-Owned Superstore, Treasure Valley Trucks, the Idaho Center Pre-Owned Superstore Center, and Treasure Valley Service Center, all together at the Auto Mall at the Idaho Center and online at treasurevalleysubaru.com. Please tell them Kevin Miller sent you. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And you know, you have people saying, well, what about this? What about Joe Biden? And what about what Biden did and what Biden didn't do? Remember, we had 4 years of incompetency, of bumbling, of everything else under Big Joe. And Big Joe was voted out with Kamala, and everything else. Think about the kids, what Mark Wayne Mullins said. Now, why isn't that leading every newscast? That's what I'd like to know. Why is that not leading every newscast? Instead, we've got Plattner, and we've got Act Blue. What the Attorney General just said, 3 illegal aliens who took part in a wide-range conspiracy to smuggle more than a dozen children into America. This administration has rescued 150 so far, 150,000. What they're trying to do is to rescue the 300,000 more. So is the situation that bad? Is the situation that bad that you're willing to give your kids up to strangers in a strange world, a strange country, so they're exploited? That's the corruption of the media. That's the corruption that we're having to deal with. And that's the corruption we'll take on next. Kevin Miller, 580-KIDO. Very, very soon, how you can win tickets on our website right now. We roll to Tea Party Bob, who joins us now. Good morning, sir.
Well, good morning, Mr. Miller. Good show this morning. I have to say thank you to Lucille for her comments. And I'm also sick and tired of the whining and sniping by the left, but also by many of those on the right, including many of our Republican representatives. We went through 4 years of economic hell with Biden and the Democrats in charge, and I'm absolutely amazed at what short memories these complainers have. We survived a manufactured virus that was going to destroy the world, a vaccine that was supposed to save the world, but instead caused millions of Americans horrible side effects. Most Americans forget it was Biden and company who were responsible for raising our debt by over $7 trillion, causing the highest inflation in 40 years. And don't forget his EPA that created so many rules that they added $1.8 trillion more to the cost of cars, appliance, energy, and just about everything we have to go out and buy. My advice to the complainers, turn off the liberal news. Stop reading liberal newspapers. And when someone complains about how the cost of everything has gone up, remind them of the 4 years of tyranny we experienced under Sloppy Joe's administration. You know, even the people on conservative Fox who have been sniping at Trump like Laura Ingram's comment need to get over it. Trump has done everything to avoid putting boots on the ground and save American lives from this war. And casualties have been very small in terms of past conflicts. You know, it drives me up a wall when I have to listen to these sniveling crybabies who continue to complain about how long this war has lasted. They forget about how long other conflicts have lasted, like Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan. All I will say is put on your big boy pants, stop your sniveling. If your gas costs too much, take a bus or share a ride. If your milk costs too much, don't drink as much of it. And if you can't afford beef, buy chicken. Trump is trying to save us from a future nuclear attack, and most people have no concept of how devastating that would be. We have enough problems right here in America that Trump is trying to fix, thanks to Joe Biden, open borders, climate change, and bad economic policies. I said earlier this week that everyone listens to the news sound bites that are just trying to make Trump look bad. I have said many times Americans suffer from soundbite propaganda syndrome. Americans don't do any homework and take everything they see and hear on the radio and on the internet, on social media platforms at face value, because they have lost all sense of critical thinking. For heaven's sake, wake up and smell the roses and stop walking around in liberal horse manure. This year we are celebrating 250 years of freedom that doesn't exist in any other country in the world. We have it pretty damn good here when you look at the places like Canada, England, France, Germany, who have lost many of their freedoms by electing leftist-leaning governments who they thought would make life better. So stop being part of the problem and be part of the solution, because we get the government we deserve, my friends. I'm sorry for the diatribe. That had to come out today.
Well, there we have it. Tea Party Bob, he's mad.
Thank you, my friend, for your show. And give me some more information on this run that's going to take place in September. I might just start the train for that.
Well, we would love to have you there.
Yeah, let me see if I can get up to speed. You know, the legs aren't exactly what they used to be, but they're still moving.
Fair enough. We appreciate that. Thank you. Let's go to Ron Grant now on 580 KIDO.
Paid for by Ron Grant, your safer money specialist.
And here he is, everybody, Ron Grant.
Good morning, Mr. Miller. How are you doing today?
Not bad, Ron. We're taking a look at the economy. People are worried about the war, the money, and everything else. And keeping your money safe from recessions and depressions. Is that possible?
It is. My clients and I don't worry about that because we're safe and protected by major insurance companies. We get to participate in some of the upside of Wall Street, but never the downside. And the most important thing is we have a lifetime income that we can't outlive. And if we're married, when one spouse passes, the other spouse gets that lifetime income for their life. And then when they pass, whatever's left goes to the beneficiaries. You know, Kevin, now more than ever, it's important if you're getting ready to retire in the next couple of years, we talk because traditional retirement plans, 401ks, 403bs, et cetera, are in the Wall Street casino with risk and fees. And we want to make sure that you have money to live on in retirement. You know, Babe Ruth bought an annuity back in the 20s. When the 29 crash hit, he wasn't standing in a bread line. He had money coming in for the rest of his life, and that's important.
Well, and that's where you come in. Ron, how can people get a hold of you to get some more information?
I've put together a great educational website, articles to read, videos to take a look at. SaferMoneySpecialist.com is the address. But let's have a phone conversation right here in the Treasure Valley about how you can have a guaranteed income that you can't outlive, zero stock market risk, and most importantly, Kevin, legacy protection for you and your family. 208-660-1372.
Ron, thank you very much.
Thank you, buddy. Have a great day.
Paid for by Ron Grant, your safer money specialist.
You know, we still haven't figured out if Tea Party Bob's a Knicks fan. He was so angry, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Wallace Jones, in 2023, I sent you this letter with 5 straightforward questions with a goal of confirming that foreign funds are not in our elections and that Act Blue had adequate fraud prevention measures in place. You replied a month later with a 4-page letter describing your fraud prevention policies and procedures that you had in place at Act Blue. But according to the New York Times, your response to this committee may have been false and misleading. Ms. Wallace Jones, when you signed this letter to me, Did you believe that this letter was false and misleading?
On the advice of my counsel, I respectfully decline to answer this question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Ms. Wallace-Jones, before you sent this letter, did you believe, was it brought to your attention that this letter that you sent me was false and misleading?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Well, I think it's important for everybody here to know that according to the New York Times, you've been aware for quite a while that the response you made was likely false or misleading. Did you ever consider correcting the record for this committee when it was brought to your attention that your letter to me was false and misleading?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to the attorney-client privilege and my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
It's pretty interesting. So now you're following the advice of your legal counsel, but you didn't when they warned you that your letter to me was false and misleading.
You know it's bad when the New York Times does an investigation into Act Blue. You know it's bad when the Republicans are using the New York Times to bring down Act Blue. Let me just share with you, by the way, you are welcome to join us at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. But let me expose to you the fake news going on about the World Cup. And if you have been listening to this program from the very beginning, we had our obligatory World Cup reporter, Jonathan Savage, the Savage Nation, the Savage, if you will, going on and on and on about the World Cup. And, you know, Fox is promoting it and everything else, but, you know, people still, even if you don't like basketball, you can't avoid with what happened last night in the NBA. World Cup host cities across North America have shelled out hundreds of millions of dollars for security, watch parties, and stadium renovations ahead of this year's tournament, which begins today. Experts say they are unlikely to recoup those investments. This is from Liam Griffin of the Washington Times. Did you know hotel bookings have fallen short of expectations and thousands of tickets remain available? Several U.S. cities are now hosting giveaways to fill seats. We don't know if Seattle is one of them. The outcome has not shocked many sports economists. The tepid response is further complicated by the ongoing military conflict with the Iranians and the Trump administration requiring people to have documentation to come into this country. They have long warned that mega events such as the World Cup and the Olympics often fall short of economic expectations and projections. In other words, the world ain't buying soccer in America. Let's go to Pro Life. He's a real man. He plays basketball, used to for BYU, I believe scholarship player. Good morning. You're on 580 KIDO.
Hey, Kevin.
Pro.
Hey. Okay. Well, anyway, the World Cup's a joke, and the Southern Poverty Law Center has been crooked from the beginning, and anybody that had any sense knew that. And, of course, the Democrats know that, but the Democrats are crooks. And you have to be a real lowlife to be a Democrat. And, you know, if Joe Biden was smart, what he'd say is, I didn't know anything about what went on in my administration. I was so out of it that you can't blame anything on me. Now, I want to go to Iran. You know, President Trump is making a mistake in not telling the Iranian people, we're going to back you up until we get rid of all of these leaders that have oppressed you for all these years. They're not talking like that, and that means they're not probably going to do it. And so they might leave some kind of terrorist people in charge, you know, even though they weakened them and gotten a deal out of them. It's a stupid thing that they're doing. Those people need to have freedom, and we're not promising to them. And if I was an Iranian guy, I would probably say, listen, I don't think I can trust United States because they're just out for oil and get rid of the nuclear stuff, but they don't care about me. And I don't like that. And so that we have to, Jesus Christ says every person is valuable. We're going to protect them, and we're not doing that. So that's about all I've got to say. But this is really pretty sickening that we let people around the world kill each other, and we have the power to stop it, and we don't, because we're not really Christian. We're fake Christians. That's what I'm believing about our Christianity. Because the pastors aren't standing up and doing anything about anything. They're just running their little pastor business, and that's about it. So anyway, I don't know what else to tell you, Kevin, unless you want to ask me a question and get me to say some more stuff. But what do you think?
Well, no, pro-life, I think you're on track here, but you're not buying this World Cup propaganda, are you?
No, that's too stupid. I don't even know why we signed up to take it. It's there's always fights at it and some kind of riots, and people get drunk and they act real stupid, and I don't know. It's not a good culture at all. You know, so I don't know why we even fool with it. But of course, we want to be big shots and say we can handle everything, and we can't. So anyway, we're headed for a big destruction. It's obvious we can't produce enough food for ourselves, and our people are lazy, and they're all on the government dole. And if we don't really look at ourselves and say, listen, I'm going to shape myself up, I'm going to be self-reliant, I'm going to do what's right, we're not going to get out of this. And then the time will come when people will be out in the country. You know, they'll be coming from all over the coast, going in the middle of the country, living in a cornfield or something, saying, hey, I got to eat this cow corn now because our nation's gone. So that's...
Well, that's right. The anti-meat eaters, pro-life, thank you for the call. Phone number's here, 580-KIDO. I'm sure Clay has been talking about this. We enjoyed the Buck show, but we always love Clay and Buck coming up next. Here is Clay Travis testifying before Congress.
Just think about what goes on with streaming now. Streaming is delayed. If you're watching a game on Amazon or you're watching a game on Netflix and you are sitting with your phone and you are texting with your friends or family about a game, you might find out what happened on the play a minute after it actually happened. Some of you know this experience. You've been sitting on your couch. You don't even want to look at your phone because it's a crucible moment of the game, and your buddy might have seen it already a minute ago. That didn't happen back in the day. We used to all watch games together. Streaming is delayed. And I mean, that's a very minimal thing. The password situation with not being able to get logged in. You've paid for it, but for some reason you're not getting logged in. The fact that you might travel and try to watch a game and you gotta, you're right. I'm obsessed with this.
All right.
And the average fan is not getting.
I want to ask you one other question before I go and subscribe to Outkick.
Oh, Jamie Raskin joking about that, but that is really true. By the way, Tea Party Bob saying that he is a New York Knicks fan, and apparently he tried to get an autograph from Wilt Chamberlain, and Chamberlain told him, beat it, kid. Well, class act that, Wilt Chamberlain. How dare you? We'd happily give Tea Party Bob an autograph. Anyway, appreciate that. Appreciate our sponsor, this portion of the program, Treasure Valley Subaru. They do incredible deals and, of course, great selection of pre-owned cars. Got to give it to Clay Travis, and Clay Travis alone. He has no entourage. He's just there. More coming up, and we'll continue to expose the World Cup propaganda for the next month. Thankfully, we don't have the World Cup here. We've got the Boise Music Festival. Yo, G, word to your mother. Kevin Miller wishing you a good day. God bless. Keep the faith. Kevin Miller loves you.
Today on the pod, we're talking to Joan, a method actor and Scratchers enthusiast. So, Joan, what do you like about playing Scratchers?
Well, as a method actor, it's about becoming the ticket. Scratching up, down, stage left, stage right.
So what's your motivation? Because your performance feels so real.
Oh, I was just tapping into my inner Scratchers.
Incredible.
Yes. Bravo me.
Scratchers from the California Lottery. A little play can make your day. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase player claim.
Hear that? That's the sound of busy. To a restaurant, all that shouting and banging might as well be a symphony. It means the long days and longer nights are paying off. Sure, it's noisy, but there's a worse sound. This, not busy. Busy means business, which is why Toast gives restaurants the tools and tech they need to help them perform under pressure. Sounds pretty good, right? Toast, built for busy.